on CBS across the nation weeknights at 11:30.
He's had these syndicated comedy programs that run local stations for years. Comics Unleashed, in particular, is the one that's going to be in the Colbert spot. This has been going on for 20-plus years, I think. He invites comedians on. He's had some of the earliest appearances with people who are big names today.
That's Chris Palmieri, who covers the entertainment space for Bloomberg News and has interviewed Alan before. And his show airing in that prime late-night slot is a callback to Alan's own beginnings. His big break was an appearance on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
He was 16 years old. Yeah, you can find it on YouTube. Maybe you'll find it on BuzzFeed now.
I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
With the new My Lowe's Pro Rewards American Express card, earn 3 points per dollar spent on Lowe's qualifying purchases for the first 6 months after card account opening. Plus, save 5% every day on eligible purchases at Lowe's and earn points on eligible purchases everywhere else Amex is accepted. Card members get more at Lowe's. Subject to credit approval. 5% can't be combined with any other offer. Exclusions and restrictions apply. Points subject to loyalty terms at Lowe's.com/terms and credit reward terms at Synchrony.com/MLPRA-terms. Visit Lowe's.com/business credit.
You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect that of the staff and management of Good Karma Brands, but are the sole responsibility of the host and guests of this particular show.
America may have many, many days, but they will be full of trouble. There will be no rest. There will be no tranquility in this country until the nation comes to terms with our problems.
Bringing you social and political commentary from his mouth to your ears. Breaking down the issues which matter to you.
You are not put here to be a white man's footstool. You are put here to represent the very best in God's word.
Legendary civil rights icon, the Reverend Jesse Jackson in the studio. Reverend Jackson, how are you?
Mr. Sherwin, good morning on this chilly Milwaukee morning.
And I am pleased to have one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party, Chairman Bobby Seale. Mr. Chairman, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing just fine, thank you.
From Mr. Eric Holder. Mr. Holder, so good to see you. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, man. How you been? It's been a long time. Haven't seen you for a while.
The Dr. Cornell West. Dr. West, how are you, sir?
My dear brother, you're so kind, you're so generous, man, but I salute you and the work that you were doing there. Doing a magnificent job there in Wisconsin.
Stream live on 1017thetruth.com. Call in with your questions or comments. 833-212-1017. Join us on social media at 1017 The Truth. It may not be what you expect to hear, but I will definitely give you what you need to know. Are you ready for the truth?
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is Sherwin Hughes.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. You made it to Friday, May 29th, 2026. We did a Hughes Views 414 broadcast yesterday evening, and I lost control of it. It's uncensored because it's a YouTube-only program. JD the Poet called in with an erotic poem that was so explicit and graphic sexually, I blushed. And, of course, good old Whiskey Lips Linda, you know her as Miss Shack, she called in with her very colorful and insightful and, of course, raunchy commentary. And then the very last phone call that I took on the Hughes Views 414 live broadcast on the YouTube was from Al. And let me tell you something about Al. You guys hear versions of Al, and he's very polarizing. but you hear versions of him when he calls our shows on 101.7 The Truth. You've never heard him uncensored. And so considering that JD the Poet called in and Linda, whose new name is Whiskey Lips, I'll let you go ahead and use your imagination as to why she chose to name herself that. Al was not going to be outdone, and so Al was the last phone call that we took last evening, and it was, how would I explain this? It was an exploration and an expedition in overt sexuality that was concocted from another planet, in another universe, in another space and time. I really enjoy doing that broadcast because it's my own and I'm not censored and I'm unfiltered, but we're going to have to figure something out. I wish I had a dump button, but I don't have one. So we're going to try it again tonight. We do go live at 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. I just will hope and please pray that we can keep some level of civility, because at some point it would be nice if advertisers would take an interest in that broadcast. But if they heard old Whiskey Lips and Al and then JD the Poet, I think the only advertisers I may get at this point would be Hustler and Penthouse Magazine.
Blue Chew.
Blue Chew, yeah. That's because they make the...
And Lovis, that's like a adult toy company.
Why you know so much about that freak stuff?
Oh, I mean, I just watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah, I do too, but they don't be advertising all that freak stuff to me.
They do on some of the things that I watch, but they're not freaky.
Oh, fair enough. All right. I'll just to each their own. I'm not going to yuck somebody's yum. I am just that kind of person. Whatever you like, hell, I love it. Let's get back to normal, shall we? All right. I have some concerns, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got this governor's race. We don't really talk about it enough, even though on their first day of broadcasting, Ray Nitty and Shannon interviewed both the county executive, who's a candidate for governor, and the mayor of the city of Milwaukee, just basically giving some overviews of what they think about stuff. I don't know if David Crowley really spoke much about his gubernatorial campaign, but I am noticing as I don't want to say I heavily scan the media ecosphere here in Milwaukee, but I lightly scan and I check the little websites and I watch a little local news every now and again to get a feel for the flavor of what the content is. Like, what are they talking about? There's not a whole heck of a lot. There's not a lot of intense focus. And even some of the other media channels like Wisconsin Public Radio, WUWM, and maybe I'm missing it, and some of you might consume more media than I do. I don't consume as much as you would think because I do and I create media, so I don't really consume much in my spare time. I like to do other things with my life. Am I missing coverage of these candidates? Because here's how I'm going to break it down. It's very, very simple. When we go and vote in a very crowded primary in August, we will be in the hottest part, and I mean that temperature-wise and also crime-wise in the city of Milwaukee. There's some economic things going on. Gas prices are elevated. The cost of living is elevated. The cost of rent, we know, is very, very high. So there's going to be economic issues that are going to be driving people to the polls. Like, they're going to have that on their mind. But in the city of Milwaukee specifically, and I'm talking about African-American, Black, Negro voters, crime is going to be top of mind because we are going to be in the worst part of it. A couple of days ago, I was lamenting on how, these current elected officials, especially the Black ones, because they got to downplay crime because it's in their best interest. It doesn't work because if you feel unsafe in your neighborhood or if you have been a victim, then telling someone who has been a victim or someone who feels unsafe that crime numbers are down means nothing. I could tell a person who's making minimum wage, well, African-American incomes are up over the last 50 years, but if they can't pay their bills, pay their rent, and buy food, then that statistic doesn't matter. And I get real frustrated because it's like they're saying to us, these elected officials are saying, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? It's very offensive. If people feel unsafe, and a lot of people do, and the lack of subjective safety is going to continue as we get into the hotter parts of the summer, bombarding us with these grand crime statistics is not going to make anybody feel better. If your house just got broken into and then the mayor says, well, you know, burglaries are down 0.2%, just FYI, that doesn't matter. And so I want to ask a question that we haven't asked in a while, and it's about the police. We have a YouTube poll question, as we do every single day, because we don't really talk about reforming the police and defunding the police. Now, I know how hardworking African Americans who stay within the confines of the law, that are doing everything right, I know how we feel about the police. But for a while, there was something that was really harming Democratic candidates, especially those on the far left, because they used the George Floyd incident to want to reform the police. But the slogan that was used, and I think this hurt Democrats writ large, was defund the police. It needs to be made abundantly clear. Progressives are okay saying defund the police, but black people still need them. We are still heavily reliant on them because in the cities that we live in and in our metro areas, we still are disproportionately victims of crime. And so defunding the police, while I get it, you will allocate those resources into, like mental health services and anti-poverty programs, and you'll take money out of the police department budget, which is very bloated, and then maybe you expand the offerings for children at MPS. You have after-school programs. Like, I understand that. But the problem I'm having is you're going to have a cohort of candidates who are going to be running and are running for governor, the Democrats. Tom Tiffany is insane. I saw a little bit of his interview that he did with my colleagues over. Well, I guess they're not colleagues anymore. I got my last paycheck from Good Karma Brands today, so I guess we're all just a bunch of strangers. They're the people that I used to know. But I saw an interview, a little part of an interview with the Republican candidate for governor, Tom Tiffany. And he's going back and forth with Kristen Bry, who was a host over on TMJ. And he's basically telling her, well, you're a woman and you got to prove, even though you're married and you're an American citizen, you need to go get your birth certificate and prove you are who you are. So he's justifying the SAVE Act and literally telling a married woman that she has to go and get all these documents so that whatever her name is, whatever a married woman's name is, it must match your documents. Otherwise, you can't vote. And he's sitting here telling this to a married woman. And she's like, well, yeah, I'm from California and I lived over here. And what if I don't have those documents? Well, we have to make sure that you're a citizen. It's the most insane thing I've ever heard my entire life. So Tom Tiffany has written himself off because he's insane. I also don't think he's married. But I'm not married either, but that's the thing. A conservative, an old white dude, because the commercial that I saw, he's sitting with his mother, and his mother is like knitting a blanket. I think he's one of those, mother, may I have some porridge? I think he's one of those kind of people. So I don't think he's going to fare well when it comes to the election here in Wisconsin. But that means the onus is going to be on the Democrats. But I want to ask African-American voters and citizens and residents if the leading candidate for the Democrats, that is Francesca Hong, who will get the Democratic nomination hands down if these other Democrats that are in the race don't drop out, because they all split each other's votes. She has a cohort of supporters in this state that simply will not vote for anybody else. Francesca Hong's voters, you got to hear me out when I say this. Her voters are not voting for Joel Brennan. Francesca Hong's voters are not voting for Kelda Royce. Francesca Hong's voters are not even voting for the Lieutenant Governor, Sarah Rodriguez. They're not voting for Mandela. They're not voting for David Crowley. They are voting for her. So if all of those other candidates stay in the race, Kelda's going to split votes with the current Lieutenant Governor, and that's Sarah Rodriguez. Mandela and David Crowley, I don't even know what votes they're fighting over. But whatever limited share of votes that these two African-American men are fighting over, those votes are going to get split. All Francesca needs is one more vote than the other six people. She said something in a recent Journal Sentinel article that I want us to become aware of. I also want us to just be, and I got to do more and do better as well, talking about and keeping top of mind who is going to be the next governor of the state of Wisconsin, because we got to start pretending or acting like the world is coming to an end, because it really is. And the lack of conversation and the lack of urgency amongst these candidates like of the 6 that are in there, it might even be 7 in the race. And they hear about this other dude who's going around stealing yard signs. He sent me threatening messages to mine. This dude is absolutely insane. Carlos Dixon, Carlos Mixon. You know what I'm talking about, Xavier? Carlos Mixon Dixon. He filmed himself stealing yard signs out of people. So Ryan Clancy, who's a state representative and a Democratic Socialist, and Francesca Hong, who's a candidate for governor and a member of the state assembly. So this guy, he's black, and he's filming himself stealing the yard signs of other Democratic Socialists. Filming it, okay? Like that's against the law. It's a felony to steal somebody's yard sign. You can get 9 months in jail for that. The dumbest crime you could ever commit. So he's filming it and putting it on social media in order to get more attention. And so then Francesca Hong was interviewed, and she's like, oh, no, we're not. And Ryan Clancy said as well, oh, we're not going to press charges on him because we think the prison system is inhumane. I'm like, that's insane. So there's this article that appears in the Journal Sentinel. And I'm troubled because it says Francesca Hong speaks about an ideal world without prisons. Ladies and gentlemen, we have had more than a few conversations about the senseless crime that takes place in our communities where nobody wants to live, nobody wants to invest. Our properties are worth almost nothing because of the crime. And imagine this for a moment. Now I'm going to go into some detail and explain it. You have the leading Democratic Socialist candidate that doesn't even want to prosecute people for stealing from her. And if she leads the state with this weird, far out, ultra leftist, super hippie fantasy of we're going to abolish all the prisons, do you know what that is going to mean for us? Those that are much more likely to be victims of crime. And I got to keep in mind now, when we go vote in August, it is going to be the hottest part of the summer, not just temperature-wise, but crime-wise as well. And so I want to bring up this conversation about police and police reform because it really is going to be on the ballot because a potential Democratic nominee wants to get rid of prisons. Somebody kills your nephew and then they get counseling. Somebody breaks in your house while you're at home watching Family Feud, eating a TV dinner, and they rob you at gunpoint, and then they get housing, and then they get a therapist that they see 3 times a week. Our YouTube question is relating to the fact, do we want to defund the police? Should we get rid of them? Should we abolish prisons? As one candidate would have us believe, especially those folks in the black community, because, we can just reform things overnight. It's not that big of a deal. Or do we believe the police department is worth keeping, but changing how they act and how they operate? So I'm going to take a break. When I come back, I'm going to talk about some of the reforms that, in fact, have taken place since the death of George Floyd. That doesn't necessarily equate to less officer-involved deaths of black people, but there are real policy and practice changes that have gone into effect since the death of George Floyd, and none of them involving defunding the police or ridding the United States of America of prisons. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
What's the word, Milwaukee? It's your favorite producer, Meech. Don't just check in. Tap in with Jazz Tyler.
Tap in. We are live and direct Monday through Friday, 4 to 7 p.m. And I am your host, Jazz Tyler. This platform is for you, the voices of the city. We are here to remind the world that your voice matters. Hit us up, tap in, and let us know what's on your mind because the time is now. Tap in.
Don't miss one of Milwaukee's favorite summer traditions, the U-Path Ride for Arts, presented by Miller Lite, returns Sunday, May 31st. Ride a fully closed 20-mile course across the Hone Bridge with incredible lakefront views. Kids 12 and under ride free thanks to the Brewers Community Foundation. All in support of Southeastern Wisconsin Performing Arts. 7 a.m. start, finish at UPAV Fest on Summerfest grounds. Register today at upavride.org. That's UPAFRIDE.org.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Presley. My love for animals began when I was 5 years old. That sparked a lifelong commitment to speak up for animals who can't speak for themselves. Elvis and I supported American Humane Society because your compassion can change a life. American Humane Society strengthens the bond between humans and animals. Please visit AmericanHumane.org to learn more. Thank you.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Democratic candidate for governor Francesca Hong told potential voters in recent weeks she ideally wants a world without prisons. A comment her campaign said referred to her goal of government addressing societal factors that lead to crime. I don't know if our government is equipped to do that, ladies and gentlemen. I think that our government can potentially maintain where a society is at any given moment in time, but government can only do so much. The issues that we have in the United States are so deeply ingrained and rooted in an institutional kind of racism. I want to be real clear about this. You can't just pile policy on top of policy like, oh, you're harmed by racism here. Here's some money for you, or here's an opportunity over here, or here's a company that is much more sensitive to diversity. If the root of the problem is a cancer, you cannot rid a system, a nation, a country of the cancer by just treating the skin lesions that are the evidence of the cancer. It needs to be excised. And there's only one way to do it. And it's not a secret. It's not some mystery. There's only one way. So these reforms that they talk about, oh, we're just going to add more policies. We're going to make your life a little bit easier. Government doesn't have that kind of power. Education does. Racism is ignorance. That's it. And it doesn't take rocket science to figure that out. If you look at what a child will learn in their K-12 education in the state of Wisconsin, I can only speak for Wisconsin because this is the state in which I am most familiar. You're going to learn about the Holocaust, the suffering of Jewish people during World War II. You might even learn about all of their persecution throughout the years. You might learn about holy wars and the Christian Crusades, and you might learn about the Japanese internment camps. You'll learn about all of these things and all these different groups that were impacted by evil societies. But if you are thinking you're going to get the same amount of information academically about black people, not a chance. Black people were slaves, and then they weren't. Martin Luther King had a dream. Next chapter. When you had Eric Hovde, who was a candidate for Senate a few years ago, and this is a man who is a very wealthy guy. He's got buildings named after him in Madison. He's so wealthy. Said that he had never heard of Juneteenth Day until 2011 or 2012. This man is in his 60s probably. He had never heard of it. Imagine living a life where you were unaware of the date and the celebration in which African Americans were walking off of plantations. Imagine just not knowing that and living your life not knowing that information. The only way that we can get the kind of society where we can look at each other as a community, but also a community of individuals and not be hampered by ignorance is through education. Yet for some reason, like Governor Evers signed a whole bunch of stuff. I think one of them was like Asian education that's going to be implemented in the public schools statewide, and then also Holocaust education, but not mandatory education for African Americans. At the same time, you have candidates that are living in an idealistic world. I think they're ignorant too. They think that, no, if we just create a law that gives black people a lot of stuff, then we can rid ourselves of all of the problems and the plagues, and there won't be any more racism or structural institutional bias anymore. That is never going to work. And I cannot live in an idealistic world because too many people have, and look where we are. We're losing our democracy. We're losing our democracy because of a lack of understanding and education. People don't even know what a democracy is. Ask somebody. Ask them what it is. They're going to give you a whole bunch of different answers. Is he really calling right? Do I take this call? And he's using his real name.
No, he used a fake name, but, his name comes on the caller ID.
Let's find out what his fake name is. Hello, who are we speaking with today? And how are you going to be disguising your voice this morning?
I was trying to, avoid certain, situations and talk about something that's kind of concerning, but I want to ask you a question, though. Just devil's advocate, hypothetically speaking, right? Let's say this, we've been through a lot in this country as black people and everything. It's a lot of trauma and history and blood and violence and, effort and love and consideration and all that. And it's to what point do we kind of look at ourselves and say, okay, but change can be a scary thing, especially after so much struggling. Is it safe to say we are a republic?
Yes.
Okay, and the issue with this whole liberal conservative thing is kind of strange because for the most part there's a serious issue with some kind of liberal views in black communities and households, yet that's the side people's on and everything, and then most people have conservative views, they're just black. So is this really an issue about race now? Issue about gerrymandering and voter suppression, comes November, votes not counted, what do we do then? But how much trauma is preventing, simple, interactions between police and black people? Let's say somebody gets pulled over, in the quick trip, in Waukesha, somebody's in a white sedan, they're also black, somebody said, hey, we got an issue about a black person in a sedan. Could you just simply answer the questions without reacting, why me and all this stuff? Sometimes somebody was in a white car and it was a black person off a highway near a quick trip. Just answer the questions. You get what I'm saying?
No, I don't get what you're saying.
Do we hold on to too much pain and bad habits to our own,
It depends on the person. I think it depends on the person that's getting pulled over in the Waukesha quick trip. Are they just getting pulled over because they're black? Or are they getting pulled over because their license plates have been expired for 5 years? Are they getting pulled over because their music is too loud? Are they getting pulled over because they're literally smoking a blunt in the car when the police pull up?
They fit a description, basically, and they just got to ask some questions. Okay? A lot of times, or just cooperate and comply, right?
Okay. And are you saying because of the trauma that black people have had with the police that they shouldn't answer the officer's questions? I'm trying to answer your question, but I'm not sure where we're going. We're kind of all over the place.
Well, it's kind of prejudice, somebody seeing a black person and assuming.
Why don't we do this? Let's make it a little more personal. What the last time you had an interaction with the police? How did that go?
I'm actually trying to grow and develop into something we can actually live in a safe, civilized society. So,
can you answer my question? The last time you interacted with an officer of the law, can you tell us about it? How was your response? Did they want to talk to you about something? Were you interviewed? Were you ever? I'm curious as to what your interaction was.
It was pretty pleasant. We had a conversation. I know it's people don't want police to do their job actually anymore. These issues with these chases, somebody took somebody or something important from you.
What was the reason for your last police contact?
I think I asked for the time.
So you approached the officer and asked a police officer what time it was?
Yeah.
And their response was?
About 2:30.
Oh. And then what happened after that?
We had a conversation about how did cops get known for liking donuts. I don't know.
So it seems like you don't really have too much of a problem with the police because that sounds like a very delightful exchange.
Do you want to live in a society where you don't feel safe and there's no one to uphold some kind of law and order?
Israel, I'm going to tell you this. I want to live in a society where I can approach an officer of the law, ask them what time it is, They then tell me what time it is, and then we can meander into a conversation about donuts. Like that was beautiful, actually. So he didn't have to go all the way around the block to get next door. He could have just told us about his very pleasant interaction with a police officer. Imagine not having a watch or not having a cell phone or not having any other means to tell time, and you have somewhere to be. You've got to be somewhere at 2:45, but you don't know what time it is. There's no watch on your wrist. There's no cell phone in your pocket. You can't look up and see the Allen Bradley clock tower. Oh no, what is one to do? Oh, look, it's an officer of the law wearing their uniform. Maybe it's a bike cop wearing really short shorts. Side note, bike cops, why? Get the shorts. Don't wear 1980s basketball shorts. I don't know why y'all are doing that. You can't even take them seriously. Hey, slow down. Stop. Don't make me have to downshift and my legs are going to pedal real fast, but I'm not going to be moving very fast. I feel like when a bike cop is wearing those tiny shorts, like that's how they sound. Come here. Don't. I'm getting tired. Oh, no. A hill is coming. We had a very pleasant interaction with the police. I would love to be able to interact with the police like that. So clearly Israel thinks that we should reform as opposed to defund, because if we defund the police, he wouldn't know what time it was and wouldn't have that pleasant conversation about donuts. Personally, when it comes to donuts, I just need a regular old glazed. I don't need nothing inside of my donut. I don't need nothing squirting out of my donut. I don't need cream in my donut. I don't need jelly in my donut. Just give me a good old-fashioned Krispy Kreme glazed donut. I don't need no Bavarian cream. I don't even know what kind of cream they make in Bavaria. Okay, can I take a break? Because it's been a crazy week, and I need to stay on track. You over here looking like you want to distract me, Xavier. Not today.
I haven't said a word.
You want to. You're thinking of words to say. You ain't going to get me today, Satan. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Our children deserve a real chance to make it in life, and a good education is a passport to opportunity. At City Ford Collective, we're working to make sure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family, because more good options lead to better outcomes. And who doesn't want that? Together, we can give every child the foundation they need to thrive, and a stronger future for kids means a stronger future for Milwaukee. To learn more about our mission, visit us at cityfordcollective.org. That's cityfordcollective.org.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance, because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Want to protect our planet? The air we breathe, water we drink, and land we share? Real progress begins with birds. Yes, birds. The very ones we see and hear every day. On a walk, in the park, or simply out the window. That's because birds are more than birds. They're symbols, sentinels that reveal the health of our planet and our people. And by helping them thrive, all of us thrive as well. Audubon is a place where birds matter, where habitats are protected, where communities are engaged, and where change takes flight. Because at Audubon, hope begins with birds. Progress begins with birds. It all begins with birds. Audubon.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
No matter what the media hype, you still get wrecked. We trying to eat and trying to be consecutive with the rock. Call my tempers down more cause Biggie Smalls was enough. Save your beat for the rice and broccoli. I lose my cool for getting the cheddar, so I suggest you better.
People say when asked about her comments, a spokesperson for Francesca Hong said, quote, "A world where needs are met and there is no need for prisons sounds like a goal worth working towards." The spokeswoman did not respond to how Hong would handle people who chose to commit crimes even when their needs are being met. On May 16th, Francesca Hong was asked by a member of a crowd gathered at the Taylor County Democratic Party what she would do, quote, in an ideal world to handle criminal offenders and curb recidivism. Francesca says, "I think that my perfect world would be a world without prisons, right? Because we all see the humanity in one another, and then we know nobody is disposable," Hong told the crowd, according to audio obtained by the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Hong told the crowd that she would want to see more funding to pay mental health workers in prisons to stay competitive with private practice, help offenders get education degrees and job training, and to create community gathering spaces that help keep children distracted from nefarious activities. Let me be the first one to say, all of that is absolutely fantastic. But what are you going to do for the victims? One of the biggest issues that I have is someone will commit a heinous crime that destroys a family, that harms a neighborhood and a community. So in the black community, and we can all identify by the street names and the street numbers, the perception is so bad that people think that just when you hear, oh, something on the north side, there's a store on the north side, a business on the north side. Oh, where do you live? Oh, I live on the north side. Ooh. That negative perception has real world consequences. And the crime that takes place, for whatever the reasons are, harms the people that live in those neighborhoods and those communities that have never done a single thing wrong. And those innocent people can be victimized. Someone can be robbed, and that compromises your feeling of safety, even when you're at home. Your cars have been stolen before. You have lost loved ones to gun violence and domestic violence. And you're going to suffer with that and sit with that for the rest of your life. But the person that committed the offense is going to get an education, housing, everything that they need so they don't kill another person. So you kill one person, okay? Got a murder under your belt. I don't know, prison overcrowding. You do, 12 and a half years. But now, look at all these opportunities that you have. You have a bachelor's degree that you didn't pay for. I know some people that are going to die with student loan debt. Now, there was a period of time in American politics where your student debt was going to get paid for, but that time has come and gone. And imagine struggling, paying for food, paying for the increase in rent, paying for the increase in gas. The wait till wintertime comes, the gas that we use to heat our homes, all that's going to be more expensive. Dealing with inflation, and you got to still struggle and pay your student loan debt. But a person that committed a felony got a free college education. Oh, I'm sorry, not free, paid for by the taxpayers. Here's what I find so interesting. And of course, we don't want people to reoffend, but what about the victims? And here's what I would say. Because clearly there's money to provide an education to inmates. There is. That money exists because we spend a whole heck of a lot of money on corrections in the state of Wisconsin. Whether that actually is a worthwhile investment, I'm not entirely sure. But inmates do have some options to get an education, a GED, a high school equivalency diploma, an apprenticeship, or an associate's degree, or sometimes even a bachelor's degree. You can pay for their education after they've committed a crime and they're institutionalized. And this is not me coming down on prisoners, because for prisoners and people that are in the system, y'all getting a great deal. You really are. You're getting health care, which people can't afford. People that have never committed a crime. I'm being very serious when I say this. Can't afford some of the things that we are giving and providing to people that did irreparable harm to a community. Now picture this. Someone commits a horrible crime. They go to prison. But while in prison, they learned a trade, they learned a skill, they got an education, they come out and they have a job waiting for them. They've got housing all lined up for them. And they're coming back to the same neighborhood, the same community, the exact same zip code where they took or permanently damaged a life. And now the inmate who returns back to the community has a job and somewhere to live, but the family that was harmed by that inmate is completely destroyed. And when I say destroyed, people aren't able to hold a job down anymore. They are permanently traumatized. They might start drinking. They might start abusing drugs. But the person who is responsible for the trauma to that family has a job and somewhere to live, and they have no student debt. I just don't think it's fair. Now, if there is money to pay for an inmate's education, then isn't that money better served paying for people who never damaged or harmed a neighborhood or a community that are struggling on the outside? I just don't like this idealistic stuff like, oh, we need to make sure that people in prisons get everything that people outside of prison can never, ever obtain. Because if you're going to do it for them, do it for everybody. If there's an opportunity to give somebody an education, let's start with a high school graduate from a middle-class family or a single-parent family, pay for their college. At least pay for the first 2 years. Because the productivity that we can get out of that individual who did everything right, and there's a lot of distractions, and I think a lot is to be said for a young person, especially in the city of Milwaukee, because some of these kids have to stay home. Like, they can't even go out on Friday and Saturday nights because of the friend groups that they have, and those friend groups are going to go and get in trouble. And I got a lot of respect for those kids that are putting aside and casting aside their social life just to not get in trouble, and they're doing everything right. Now, we don't want kids to have to stay home, but maybe there aren't enough things in the evening time for the good kids to do, so they stay home and play video games, whatever. They graduate from high school, and they do pretty well. Not well enough to get a full ride scholarship, but they're on their own to pay for school. They're almost better off committing a crime and getting their education paid for free and getting free healthcare. Now, I'm not encouraging this by any means. It's the same mentality of, and maybe this one will ring true with some people. There's some folks that they don't want to work because the benefits they receive being unemployed are better and are more robust than if they take a job making $12, $13, $14, or $15 an hour, because they may lose some of the benefits that they get while they're unemployed. While you're unemployed or underemployed, you may get a child care subsidy, rent assistance, energy assistance, and a food subsidy. Now, you're not living high on the hog unless you get a whole bunch of stamps and you can sell some of your stamps. Are people still selling stamps? It used to be very popular on the social media. Hey, I got stamps. People would sell stamps all out in the open. That's just a felony. But can't you almost empathize with the person that said, well, yeah, now I get to stay home. I don't have a job. I have a child care subsidy, help pay for the cost of daycare. I'm getting help with my rent with Section 8. I'm getting a decent amount of SNAP benefits and food stamps, getting help with the high cost of utility bills. But if I get a job and actually pay taxes and pay into that exact same system, then I lose all of those subsidies. It's almost better. And that's why I'm troubled by what we provide to people that offend but leave nothing for the victims. The same mentality is with our youth. And I got to be very careful with this because I know that folks are very sensitive when we have conversations about the youth. Not all of them, but some of them, certainly enough of them to make a difference or to rise to the level of concern. Some of the kids are a problem. Can we at least agree on that? I'll keep it pretty simple. Not all of them. Some of the kids are very nice. Some of the kids say yes, sir, and no, sir. I think the modern version of yes, sir, and no, sir is auntie and unc. I'm okay being unc. I'm all right. That's okay. I earned Unc. I don't mind that at all. In fact, I prefer Mr. Hughes, but if that's too formal, Unc will do. I don't mind that so much. But if there's a cohort of young people that are fighting and filming it and terrorizing, let's say Bayshore Mall, because that takeover, that shocked a lot of people when they saw that one. Because that wasn't expected, because I was out in Glendale. I'd imagine most people would expect that kind of melee to take place in the city of Milwaukee. And then, obviously, it scares shoppers. It harms Bayshore because that is a commercial area where people need to feel safe when shopping. Here's the thing about money. Money is more conservative than any one person because you're not going to spend money where you don't feel safe. So money is very, very sensitive to crime. And then you have young people doing the street takeovers and doing all. Now, again, it's not all of them, but what do? We coddle those young people that are terrorizing communities that they don't even own. These young people aren't even paying taxes. They're not even paying for the police resources that they use. Because we got to call the cops on them, obviously, when they're fighting and shooting and all this other stuff. You got to call the police. That costs money. These kids aren't working and they're not even paying into the system that they are draining from us. So what do? We got to have something for the kids. We need to invest and we need to have more money. What are you doing for the good kids? We will be quick to help the kids who, like, they're holding us hostage. Like, oh, we'll tear this city up until you build us something where we can have fun. And you're going to spend a whole bunch of money building us bad kids something. Guess what? We're going to tear that up too. If more people just understood like that common thing, this is why people are so frustrated with politics, because if you are out here struggling, why would you vote for a candidate that is promising more opportunity and more benefits to an offender, whether it be youth or adult, than what you, because people are struggling. And what happens is people are like, I'm going to do the right thing and I'm going to work this job. I'm going to work a second job, work a third job, can't spend time with my family. I'm getting burnt out. My mental health is suffering. They might say, screw it. I might as well just rob somebody. I might as well give me a quick lick real quick. You get $20,000. You get you a little $20,000 lick. You might be okay for a good 6, 7, 8 months. As opposed to if you make $10 an hour, you will never save $20,000. Never in your life. It's frustrating, and I want our candidates to have a better understanding of the number of African Americans who either live in fear or who potentially could be victimized far outnumber the small few that we coddle when they commit crimes. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Brew Crew are back on June 2nd.
Fly ball center field. It's hit well. Grisham back. It is gone!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they play the San Francisco Giants.
Got him swinging. Threw him a curveball. It's 11 Ks for Mizorowski.
Brewers baseball is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in June 2nd at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
Prizes, exclusive experiences, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting truthcontests.com. That's truthcontests.com.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. There's a sense of pride, community, and work ethic that's second to none. People here are tough, but even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. We've been here and will continue to be here for as long as you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Still think you're going to use those old chemicals just sitting around under the sink, in the garage, or down in the basement? We're talking things like old antifreeze, paint thinners, batteries, propane cylinders, and pesticides. So don't let them sit there. Get rid of them right away. To MMSD's Home Hazmat Drop-Off Centers. It's safe, it's easy, and it's open to all Milwaukee County residents. There are 3 locations open year-round. Let's clean up Milwaukee.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, may I ask a few questions?
Yeah, of course.
Do you have any pets?
Yes, we have a dog.
Great. Do you have a pool outside?
Nope, just a big old backyard.
Nice. Another question. Are there any unlocked guns in the home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, let's just talk about what we can bring for dessert.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The central electoral question for Milwaukee Democratic primary voters is likely to become: can a candidate convince residents that they support reform and accountability without weakening public safety in communities already experiencing disproportionate victimization? And so I'm going to lump the progressives together for a moment, because they may say, oh my gosh, you black and brown people. That's the first mistake, because there's vast differences. You know how many different kinds of brown there are? So some of the browns hate the blacks. Just like some of the gays hate the lesbians, that hate the transgenders, that also hate the queers, that hate the intersex people. Well, we're not ready for that conversation yet. But a progressive will say, oh my God, you blacks and browns go to prison so much. There should be no more prisons. We should abolish the prisons altogether, because, oh my God, so many of you go there. Let's just get rid of it, without taking into account the fact that, you know who is more likely to be a victim of violent crime? I'll let you go ahead and circle a couple of responses around in your head. And it's widely held that that's what prison reform actually is. Oh, we have to get rid of the prisons, and prisons are inhumane. You got Francesca Hong and Ryan Clancy that are not pressing charges against a person that is literally stealing from both of them. It almost is similar to the attitude of, you ever seen these video clips where, like, they either decriminalize or they reduce shoplifting to like a non-criminal offense? I think somewhere in California, maybe in LA, and you see people going into stores with garbage bags and just emptying the shelves, just putting stuff in the bags, and just walking out of the store. Because, we don't want to clog up the system and give people criminal records for simple theft and shoplifting. And people are literally going into Walgreens and CVS with just bags, garbage bags, and just putting products in the bags and just walking right out. Security just opening the door for them. We got to close all the prisons because all the black people and brown people are going there. It reminds me of there was the killing of Dontre Hamilton, and there were a lot of rallies and protests at Red Arrow Park, and the protests grew in size and in frequency the days and weeks after Dontre Hamilton was killed in a public park by a Milwaukee police officer. And then eventually the people with the clipboard showed up, because there was a gathering of African Americans who can very much relate to that kind of interaction with the police. Because, oh, by the way, black men are much more likely to be victims of violent crime than anybody else. We are not just the perpetrators. We also are more likely to be the victims. And also, when you talk about homelessness, 36% of the homeless in the United States of America are black men. So when you don't see a lot of action on homelessness reform and getting resources to unhouse people, because they know that homelessness impacts black men more than anybody else, and you can criminalize somebody for not living in a house. So when you have these natural gatherings of African Americans because we are mourning or we are grieving or we are protesting poor treatment, then the progressives show up like, hi, will you sign this petition? Like, oh, what is this petition for? To reform the police, to recall a politician? No, we want to have marijuana to smoke. And, by the way, even though you all are here because you want to have more police accountability, you black people go to jail for weed a lot. I witnessed that because that white girl came up to me and asked me to sign that damn petition. In my mind, I snatched the clipboard out of her hand and I broke it over my knee. But in reality, I just walked away from her. They only look at the surface of African American issues and they try to come up with a solution without knowing the details. You know who also does that? The hardcore right. The far right does that as well. All the blacks are bad. You got to put them all in jail and shoot them with the police. And then you have on the total opposite side of the spectrum, oh my God, black people are going to jail? Well, either tear all the jails down and nobody goes to prison whatsoever, which would actually cause more black victimization. But if they are going to go to jail, give them everything. Give them a bachelor's degree. You have these unorthodox ways of thinking from the left and from the right because nobody knows and understands the depth and the details of institutional and structural racism. And so black people are just like this phenomenon. And the reason why we're still a phenomenon, even though we built the country, is because there is not enough effort put into teaching America and Americans about what black people have been through in chronological order. If we just did that, then all of this would make sense. We could explain the low levels of home ownership, the high levels of poverty, the higher levels of crime, the rates of juvenile criminal behavior, the low levels of literacy. All of that could be explained. But since Americans don't know the details of what our trajectory has been like in this country, we're like, well, if they go to jail, then don't have jails anymore. Or if they do go to jail, give them everything free in the jails. Or have more police and have the police use more chokeholds then. And then we are expected to choose between one of those two sides. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on the other side. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Watch and listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes weekdays 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Sherwin's the king of the airwaves king.
There's some things I want to highlight that we may not be cognizant of, and I know that some of y'all are going to take issue with what I say, but I'm going to be factual and I'm going to be objective about it because they are still hard at work to make sure that we die fast, we live difficult lives, we make less money, we have less access to healthcare. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not just some random occurrence. And they're criminalizing some of our just unnecessary, loud, boisterous, and disrespectful behaviors. You know, I remember an era where black folks didn't necessarily need to be heard. Us being in public and being seen was quite enough because we are giving them more fuel for the fire, especially now that we have, I'd like to think, more political power than we've had in years past. And just as we're starting to gain more political power, that's when they start to take away our districts. And guess what? You didn't see it coming.
Many of our most important memories are made at school. But for children like Victoria, the classroom can be a place of fear and isolation. She wore a bandage over her cleft every day, too shy to speak, too afraid to smile. Everything changed after one life-transforming surgery made possible by Smile Train. Today, Victoria's smile lights up her classroom, a symbol of confidence, connection, and new beginnings. Due to stigma, children with untreated clefts often miss out on school entirely. But thanks to Smile Train, students like Victoria are stepping into the classroom, raising their hands, and finding their voice. Smile Train partners with local experts to support with free cleft surgeries and other comprehensive care, empowering children to thrive in school and in life. Let's help every child walk into the classroom with confidence. Visit smiletrain.org/learn.
People don't realize that glaucoma is one of the leading causes of blindness.
Because there are often no early symptoms, nearly half of those with glaucoma may not even know they have it until vision loss has occurred.
I was diagnosed with normal tension glaucoma in July of 2020. And what we found out at that point was I had already lost 40% of my sight. And you think it only affects people that are, 75 or older, retired, grandparents, and that's not the reality of it.
I didn't think at all glaucoma was going to affect me because I didn't know of anyone that had glaucoma, no one in my family. When you have glaucoma, you can't get back that sight that you lost. And so early detection and treatment is vitally, vitally important.
Don't miss life's most beautiful moments. Schedule an eye exam today.
National Glaucoma Research, a Bright Focus Foundation program, offers free resources and tips for healthy vision.
Learn how to protect your sight at stopglaucoma.org.
You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with Associated Bank. Your money works here. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. I want to level set, and I want to provide a little bit more detail on how we have to be careful when we talk about reforms, whether it be reforms to police, defunding or abolishing the police, which I haven't even checked the YouTube poll, but I would guess the vast majority of people want to reform the police. As well, the vast majority of people that participate with this show, I'd say. I'm going to check the poll numbers in a second, but I'd imagine, because it's just commonsensical to not want to defund the police, but to reform them, because black people need the police a lot. And because we have so much interaction with them on a daily basis, and sometimes it isn't fair and it's not justified. Other times we absolutely need them to come and investigate a crime or to catch a perpetrator, et cetera, because we have so many interactions with them. The likelihood that we're going to have a bad interaction is high because the interactions are so frequent. But to not have them at all, or to defund them, or if there's a tragedy that is about to take place and then you call 911 and they send a social worker, a white girl with blonde hair named Caitlin that's 24 years old that doesn't have a gun and a badge, she has a name tag around her neck. Hi, I'm Caitlin. You guys called 911. Walk up to you sipping a cafe mocha macchiato. She's got her Starbucks coffee. What's going on here? That's not what we want, but I also want to level set because I don't think that people realize that African-American people are more likely to be victims of crime. And we want those that harm us because they're hurting our whole community. So a car gets stolen and people who pay their car insurance, that's going up as well. People that pay their homeowner's insurance if you live in certain neighborhoods, because the likelihood that property damage is going to take place is higher. So it costs us more money when criminal activity is consistent and is allowed to persist. But then if we put more of our resources into coddling criminals and leaving victims with nothing, we might even be worsening somebody's subjective feeling of safety because those that victimize are getting some incentive. The more kids that do street takeovers and do all sorts of destructive behaviors, then they're going to get more public attention. Like, we have to do something for the kids. We have to take money from hardworking tax-paying people and put together some kind of program for, let's build them a roller skating rink. Why? So they can blow it up with dynamite? Like, why are you doing that? What about the people that get nothing? African Americans, particularly black men, are disproportionately more likely to be the victims of violent crime in many large urban areas in the United States, including Milwaukee. A pattern is reflected in homicide, non-fatal shootings, aggravated assault, and armed robbery data. Black Americans account for roughly 13 to 14% of the U.S. population, yet represent a disproportionately large share of homicide victims. According to National Firearm Violence Research, Black Americans comprise the majority of gun homicide victims in the United States. Black males experience the highest homicide victimization rates of any demographic group in America. When I turned 35, I reached an incredible milestone. Not necessarily a professional milestone, not really a personal one, because between the ages of 15 and 35, my number one cause of death was homicide. It's like, yes, I made it to 35. Now I can get cancer. Now I can be impacted by all of these other causes of early and premature death. That's a frightening reality. In Milwaukee specifically, and I'm giving you this in the context of the leading Democratic candidate for governor, who by all intents and purposes is a really nice lady. I actually really like her. You know what? She texted me, not last week, the week before, and she said, Sherwin, I'm going to be in your neighborhood knocking on doors. I was like, that's actually really cool. She's a great person, but I think that her brand of politics is more Madison than it is Milwaukee, and I totally get that. But when you are from Madison and you run for a statewide office, you have more Milwaukee to represent than Madison. Madison becomes the small share. They're the small piece of pie. Milwaukee is the big piece of pie. Remember in the cartoons when they cut a slice of cake? And then one of those tricky cartoon characters wouldn't take the slice of cake. They take the rest of the cake and just leave the one slice. Milwaukee is the bigger part of the cake. And the kind of ideas and discussions around corrections reform that can take place in Dane County and in the city of Madison specifically, you know, they can focus on allocating different resources and allocating resources away from the police for mental health reform and anti-poverty programs, because the economy in Madison, this is why Madison is so very different. And the people that are from Madison, when you have a conversation with them, they're almost like space cadets. Like crime is just like this little tiny inconvenient thing that kind of happens over there a little bit. It's not something that shapes and forms how people think of the city of Madison. Madison is recession-proof. And whenever you have a bulletproof economy, then your ideas of crime are very, very different than, say, here in Milwaukee, which is an old industrial working class city that's still trying to navigate its way through what is now the service industry. There's still a lot of people that have been left behind through deindustrialization, a lot of people. And no, everybody's not going to go and be an HVAC technician, or a plumber, or an electrician, or a welder. Everybody's not going to do that. Crime has a shaping effect on this city because our economic opportunities for 38 or 40% of the population are shaky at best, even when there is a good economy. So anyone from Madison is going to have a different perspective because they were forged in a developmental, political, and social environment where you have state government and all the jobs. You know how many people work in that capital and make really good money? A chief of staff for a state senator makes six figures. All the other support staff, all the other departments just within the governor's office, that's all good money. And then you have the political interests. You have all the lobbyists, all the corporations that want to influence those policymakers. That's all big money too. Then you have the surrounding businesses, the restaurants that feed not just the university. The university is a multi-billion-dollar corporation too. You know how much money some of those professors make and all the support staff? The houses and the housing prices in Madison are insane. And guess what? They can afford them because they got a bulletproof economy. If you got the largest university in the state and state government and corporate interests and lobbyists and unions that are centrally located in Madison as well, there's a lot of money there. They got a really strong economy. When you have a big economy where jobs are more plentiful and pay better even in a down economy, then crime is not shaping their community like it shapes ours. There rarely will ever be a 10 or 15% unemployment rate in Madison. And when you are from that environment, raised in it, forged in it, your idea of policies are going to be similar to that in which you come from, or the place in which you come from that's essentially recession-proof. Milwaukee consistently had one of the highest violent crime rates among major Midwestern cities. The city's violent crime rate is estimated to be about, I don't know if this is a big number or not, 14.5 violent crimes per 1,000 residents. Maybe that is a lot. It's a lot. Okay. The city's violent crime rate is estimated to be about 14.5 violent crimes per 100,000 residents compared to 4 per 1,000 residents nationally. So our violent crime rate is 3 times higher than the national average. That's not. Can't close the prisons when you have that kind of, and when black people and black men in particular are more likely to be the victims. Do you see what I'm getting at here? And why this rhetoric is dangerous? She might win the Democratic nomination. In fact, if nothing changes, and so far nothing is changing, what these Democrats need to do is they got to realize who's not going to be able to win, and that's honestly like 4 of the 6. Either 4 of the 6 or 5 of the 7. I don't even know if I want to count one of those candidates because they're just such an offshoot. They have to start saying, okay, look, you drop out, you drop out, you drop out. You haven't polled above 3%, 4%, 5%. Okay, you guys drop out. And then support me, endorse me. Now, I'm not saying who the me is, but this is the deal that they need to make because Republicans do it all the time. Republicans already did it. They only have Tom Tiffany to worry about. There's no big Republican primary where Republican primary voters have got to split each other up and split their votes and figure out which direction they want to go with a whole bunch of different Republicans. They got one dude because the other guy that was running, can't remember his name because his name doesn't matter. I think he's the county executive of Washington County. He dropped out of the race. There might have been a third guy. They're like, no, we're just going to drop out and endorse Tom Tiffany to make it easier on a Republican seeking the office of governor. The Democrats have made it much more complicated. So what the Democrats should do, not that they're going to listen, but that's why they suck real bad. And we depend on the Democrats to be the sensible adults in the room, but they make they don't learn anything. At the same time, Kamala is gearing up to run again in 2028. I'll tell you this much. I'll vote for her over Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance in a second. You ain't even got to ask me twice. It's not a matter of whether I like her or not. I would just rather her than either of them. So what needs to happen is the leading candidates running on the Democratic side for governor say, hey, Joel Brennan, why don't you drop out? Mandela, drop out. David Crowley, you need to drop out. Sarah Rodriguez, Kelton, why don't you drop out? Endorse me. And then when I get elected, you can be my chief of staff. You can be my head of Department of Administration. David Crowley, you can be the head of economic development with an emphasis on Milwaukee and minority-owned businesses. And you start making deals that way because I think that each of the candidates running, they got some skills. I'm not saying that they don't have skills, but they all can't be the executive. But there are things that they can do with their unique experiences to make state government more robust and more effective. All of them can't be governor. Most of them shouldn't be governor. Now, that's a really tough conversation to have because those candidates are emotionally invested in their campaigns. And when they look in the mirror, they see a governor. Some of it is ability. Most of it is ambition. But that does not mean in these days and times where the press is under attack, Donald Trump is a lunatic madman who fakes assassination attempts when he gets bored. The economy is tanking. Like, this is no time for the Democrats to just be, well, let's just see what happens and we'll play nice with each other. So that's when I'll start to get frustrated because I'm not seeing the urgency. We all should know that it's a problem if there's 6 or 7 Democrats. Imagine 6 or 7 people on your ballot. That's insane. If that is indeed the case, because they have this other thing, which is very harmful in politics, there are a few that do not have this very harmful trait, and those are the ones that ultimately go very far. Because the thing about politics, especially in the state of Wisconsin, another opportunity is going to arise. You never know who's not going to run for re-election to the U.S. Senate. You never know who's not going to run for re-election to the House of Representatives. You never know what private corporation may want to hire these individuals to be a lobbyist where they're going to make $14 million a year. There's always another opportunity around the corner because politics is so prioritized here in the state of Wisconsin, especially because we're a battleground state. And the direction that Wisconsin goes in, and largely that is up to us, the direction we go in is also the direction the nation may go in. Because let me tell you something, we can't screw up 2028. 2024, we messed that up real bad. A lot of things about 2024 were messed up. Joe Biden could have did stuff a lot better. I don't know what Kamala could have did. I don't know. Trying to tell everybody to read Project 2025. You know what she should have done? She should have read it to us. She should have just, every speech she gave, she should have just read a chapter.
Have you heard about Elon's baby mama going around saying he rigged the election?
Did you say that on air or just in my ear?
No, on air.
Oh, I don't care about that right now. I can't be distracted from that. I'm not worried about Israel. I'm sorry, Palestinian people. I got to worry about where I live right now. I know where you live sucks, but I've never even been to Mexico before, so I can't worry about Palestine. I can't worry about all that other stuff and rigging the election. Okay. What are we going to do about it? I got to pretend like we're going to have an actual gubernatorial election where we can decide the fate of black people in the city in which I live. Everything outside of that, Xavier and anybody else who cares to listen to me, is noise. I don't got enough time, effort, and energy to worry about all these other people that would never give a damn about us. That we care about everything else that what's going on here. Milwaukee is on fire. We over here saying, well, what can we do in Georgia to stop the redistricting? I don't even think I've ever been to Georgia. Maybe driving through it, driving to Florida. But other than that, I trust people who live in their respective cities, towns, metro areas, and states to be able to figure out their own problems, because there's a lot of very smart people there, educated people that know the history and know the communities in which they live that are elsewhere. But, we here in Milwaukee who can't solve a problem to save our lives see something somewhere else and say, we gotta help them. No one ever calls a Milwaukeean and says, hey, can you come help us solve our problems? We'd be the last ones they call. Like, hey, everybody in Palestine, we have a whole bunch of volunteers and activists that really want to help you. Oh, where are they from? They're from Milwaukee. They can stay. No, they can stay in Milwaukee with Cavalier Johnson. It's not funny, but Black Americans account for 13 to 14% of the U.S. population, yet represent a disproportionately large share of homicide victims, according to National Firearm Violence Research. Black Americans comprise a majority of gun homicide victims in the United States. Young black males experience the highest homicide victimization rate of any demographic group in America. In Milwaukee specifically, Milwaukee has consistently had one of the highest violent crime rates among major Midwestern cities. The city's violent crime rate is estimated to be 14.5 violent crimes per 1,000 residents, compared to 4 incidents of violent crime per 1,000 residents nationally. Milwaukee police data showed 132 homicides in 2024, down from 172 in 2023, though still historically elevated to pre-2020 levels. Non-fatal shootings fell by 24%. So that's good news. Milwaukee's homicide victims and shooting victims are disproportionately black, especially in predominantly African-American North Side neighborhoods. This has been documented repeatedly through Milwaukee Police Department reportings and the Milwaukee Homicide Review Commission. Imagine if somebody from New Orleans was like, whoa, we really got to help those people in Milwaukee with their homicides. I don't think we would want their help, because we would say, hey, New Orleans, you guys got a bit of a contagious murder problem down there too. Several structural factors strongly correlate with this disparity. Concentrated poverty, segregation, illegal firearm circulation, group conflicts, they say. Lower economic mobility, reduced access to trauma care and mental health resources. However, one candidate for governor would rather put those mental health resources in the purview of those who have already committed offenses. And I'm not saying that it isn't necessary, but if you have a disproportionate number of black people that are victims, and it's just a matter of time before the victim turns into the offender. That's what I'm concerned about. So we give all the attention and the time and the resources and create new programs for the person that already committed the crime, but the victims are just left lying in the wake, and we don't do anything for the victims. There's not the same amount of effort or political or resource attention to the victims. Then those victims, who remember are disproportionately black men, then they become perpetrators too. And so now you have this escalating problem, because with the resources that we have, we give them to the offenders. We give nothing to the victims. The victims get frustrated and fed up and have to deal with their trauma. Then they become perpetrators too. Milwaukee is one of the most racially segregated metro areas in the country. We already knew that. And violent crime tends to cluster geographically in neighborhoods already experiencing economic instability. On the ratio of criminal offenders to residents, many crimes are never reported. Not all offenders are arrested. Many offenders commit multiple crimes, and offender databases measure different things: arrests, convictions, incarceration, probation, registration status, etc. Let's take a break, come back. Ooh, let's check the YouTube chat. What are you guys gabbing about? YouTube poll. When it comes to police, 7% say defund them, 93% say reform. Well, that tracks. That's tracking. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Brew Crew are back on June 2nd.
Fly ball center field. It's hit well. Grisham back. It is gone!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they play the San Francisco Giants.
Got him swinging. Throw him a curveball. It's 11 Ks for Mizorowski.
Brewers baseball is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in June 2nd at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
Watch and listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes weekdays 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Sherwin's the king of the airwaves, king.
There's some things I want to highlight that we may not be cognizant of, and I know that some of y'all are going to take issue with what I say, but I'm going to be factual and I'm going to be objective about it, because they are still hard at work to make sure that we die fast, we live difficult lives, we make less money, we have less access to healthcare. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not just some random occurrence. And they're criminalizing some of our just unnecessary, loud, boisterous, and disrespectful behaviors. You know, I remember an era where black folks didn't necessarily need to be heard. Us being in public and being seen was quite enough, because we are giving them more fuel for the fire, especially now that we have, I'd like to think, more political power than we've had in years past. And just as we're starting to gain more political power, that's when they start to take away our districts. And guess what? You didn't see it coming.
Tacos and Tequila Festival, Saturday, May 30th at Franklin Field, featuring live performances by Rick Ross, Genuine, Soulja Boy, Frankie J, Mims, Petey Pablo, Jaquan, and Milwaukee's very own Big Frank. It's Milwaukee's biggest throwback party of the summer, all for $29. There will be craft margaritas, Milwaukee's best taco vendors, authentic lucha libre wrestling, an exotic car showcase, a Chihuahua beauty pageant, art installations, and so much more. Tacos and Tequila Festival, Saturday, May 30th. Get your tickets now at tacosandtequilafestival.com.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
been spending time here looking at the pink and sunsets. No need to the way
I want to give a little more information here so we can have a sharper perspective on the complicated nature of spending on sentencing justice and criminal justice. It is a very high cost. And when we wonder why we don't have money to allocate toward, other useful things in society, yes, we should be investing more in education because the United States is failing. Clearly, we got to do something better. Failing compared to other industrial, modern, Occidental, Western nations. So that's a problem. I am not impressed with how we teach the history of the United States. We still make it seem like white is right. And the impacts that white supremacy has had on other communities in this country is not taught accurately. So it makes it look like those quote unquote brown people are just lazy and are natural born criminals. All of that stems from a lack of willingness to teach history objectively. We also should be taking issue with the amount of money that we spend on offenders, and the cost is doubled, right? So somebody commits a crime, you harm that person, that's the victim. That may damage that entire family. The costs of the people that live in that neighborhood are going to be even higher. No one's going to want to live in that neighborhood, so real estate values are going to be depressed. Insurance is going to be more expensive in those neighborhoods because there's more insurance claims. You see what I mean? But then when someone commits that offense, we're spending a lot of money on their incarceration. Okay, fair enough. We got to lock them up and do something with them. But then the other resources that they get while they are incarcerated, they get an education, they get skills training, they're going to get mental health counseling. Okay, fine, great. But they're not providing those same resources for the victims. And victims that go without will eventually, not in all cases, but far too often will become offenders. So I want to give a little more detail on that. Correction spending massively exceeds victim services spending. Period. State and local governments spend well over $100 billion a year on correction systems alone. We know it's expensive, so that number doesn't really shock anybody. Total criminal justice spending, police, courts, jails, prisons, probation, parole, exceeds $300 billion a year. By contrast, federal and state victim compensation and victim assistance funding is measured in the single-digit billions. So we are spending, in some cases, 300 times more on the offender than on the victim. That is a disparity, an economic disparity that needs to be addressed some kind of way. For example, the Federal Office for Victims of Crime, I didn't even know there was such an office. The Federal Office for Victims of Crime distributes funding through the Crime Victims Fund. But even at peak years, it is tiny compared to the correctional infrastructure spending. Victim advocates often note offenders may receive housing programs. Offenders receive job readiness programs. Offenders receive addiction treatment. Offenders receive reentry navigation. Offenders receive legal protections. Offenders receive education programming and taxpayer-funded confinement costs. So the victim is paying for all of those resources for the offender. And let me tell you how I can say that accurately. Because the offender is not working. And if the offender is working, exactly how much state and federal taxes are being taken out of their paychecks making $1 an hour? While victims struggle to obtain, or they don't receive at all, trauma counseling, victims don't receive relocation assistance. I don't even think we pay enough attention to that. If you live in a neighborhood and you live on a particular street and someone who lives on that street committed a crime against you and then they go to jail and then they get released, they may live in the exact same house that they lived in because that's where the family is, because they ain't got nowhere else to go, the offender. What if they live 2 doors down? Because you can't make that family move. Unless there's even if there's a restraining order, that person that committed a crime against you or one of your loved ones, they can go and serve their time. And then they come back after confinement. They have a whole welcome home party. And they come right back to the house 2 doors down, the house that they lived in when they offended. And there's no resources allocated to relocating the victim. That's crazy to me. Imagine if a woman is raped and your rapist lives 2 addresses down. That's why people go and shoot. You know what I mean? You go shoot the person like, oh, you're out of jail? How long did they do for raping that lady? 11 months. Well, I'm going to go shoot him in his face. Now, listen to me. Don't shoot anybody in the face. I mean it. Don't do that. I got to be careful when I talk about shooting people in the face to get justice. And I say that because a lot of you miss. Some of you are terrible shots. You are. But still, don't become a better shot and then go shoot. Now, I'm not saying that either. How about this? Put the guns down, Milwaukee. Why don't we just all, if people have a disagreement, let's get in a boxing ring. Take a couple punches like Ray J.
Isn't that what they're doing at the team takeovers?
That's a little bit different. Them kids are fighting just because they don't have verbal skills to resolve conflict. Very big difference. If you get into a conflict with somebody, Xavier, do you walk away from them? Do you try to resolve it? Or do you immediately start a fight? Because if you start a fight, your ass is going to jail, then I ain't got a producer.
Oh, me? I'm just a very calm guy, you see. I
don't
get into too many conflicts, but if someone's talking stupid, you just got to walk away because I can hurt somebody.
Oh, all right. Then. What if they're armed? Do you have a gun? Are you a gun person?
Yeah, well, CCWs, You
strapped right now?
No, you can't bring it in the studio, but.
Why not?
Well, I don't know.
I'm not telling,
I think there's no sign in the thing,
Yeah, but a sign can't supersede the Constitution. I'm not telling you to bring a gun.
Oh, no, I don't need one here.
Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. But I'm not telling you to bring a gun. There's a safety saying that I like to reiterate. Take your firearm with you to a place you would never think you would need it. And if there's a place where you think you would need your firearm, don't go to that place at all. There's a place that has real good gyros. It's called Gyros Corner. It's on Hadley and Appleton. If you're a Gyros fan, I think these gyros are superior to even Oakland gyros. So that would be my gyro spot. But I noticed over the years, there also used to be a Robert's Frozen Custard right across the street. So you had Gyros Corner right on Appleton and Hadley, and then you had the Robert's Frozen Custard. And over time, the neighborhood kind of went downhill a little bit. Then Robert's Frozen Custard they put up bulletproof glass, and then eventually they closed. And now, as you can imagine, it's a JJ's Chicken and Fish. And then the Gyros Corner, which is still there on the corner of Hadley and Appleton, got so bad that I used to take my pistol with me to pick up my food. And I'm thinking to myself, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. The Gyros are good, though. It's almost worth shooting someone. Not quite, but they take a long time, though. Even if you call ahead. Here's what's crazy. Gyros Corner is in a black neighborhood. It's a Greek restaurant, but all the staff are Mexican. I love America. And so you call ahead, for your order. That'll be 20 minutes. Okay, cool. Don't get there in 20 minutes. Give them some grace. Give them 25 minutes. So you get there at 25 minutes. Hi, I'm here to pick up my order. What's your name? Sherwin. Hold on. 8 minutes later, it's not ready yet. All right, then. And now you're just waiting in the lobby, and there'd be some shady characters in that little lobby. And then imagine I get my food 39 minutes later, and someone tries to rob me for my delicious gyro that I just waited 39 minutes for. Now, I'm not saying that that's a likely scenario, but that's why you got to be strapped if you want to get a gyro. No, don't bring a gun to the Gyros Corner because somebody's going to actually do it. But I'd be very frustrated. Waiting for your food when you're hungry is not fun. We're going to talk about the Milwaukee experience today. There's a lot of stuff going on this weekend. You got Tacos and Tequila Festival. You've got the United Performing Arts Ride for the Arts. That's going on. You got Locust Street Festival going on this weekend. We have officially entered summer. Still going to do the Milwaukee experience at 11 o'clock because they got to let folks know what the hell is going on in the city. And we are hoping for a very peaceful weekend. The weather's going to be very nice. There's not much rain expected. It's going to be very pleasant temperatures. Going to be very nice. I want you to get out and experience the city. And don't, can you not shoot anybody, please? Can you try and work it out? Can we do that? Can we just, if you have an argument with someone, say, hey, friend, let's pray together. Maybe that's what we should be doing more of. Xavier says, no prayer. We got to do something. Just stop shooting. Because the victim is more than likely going to be a black man. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Presley. My love for animals began when I was 5 years old. That sparked a lifelong commitment to speak up for animals who can't speak for themselves. Elvis and I supported American Humane Society because your compassion can change a life. American Humane Society strengthens the bond between humans and animals. Please visit AmericanHumane.org to learn more. Thank you.
Prizes, exclusive experiences, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting truthcontests.com. That's truthcontests.com.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit defending the environment and people's health. Until justice stands for all, our lawyers will never rest. More at earthjustice.org/neverrest. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
I take care of the kids, and I take care of my dad. I take care of things at work. The groceries, the cleanups, the meltdowns, the doctor's visits, the family events, mealtimes, bedtimes. I take care of all the things everyone else needs. But I haven't made time to take care of what I need.
Family caregivers are often overloaded. It can feel overwhelming and exhausting. It's no surprise that millions of caregivers experience symptoms of anxiety and depression every year. But help is available, because there may only be one you, but you don't have to do it alone. Head to mentalhealthcareworks.org. That's mentalhealthcareworks.org to learn how to get the support you deserve, because mental health care works when you make the call. If you're experiencing a mental health crisis or thoughts of suicide, dial 988, a message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
I'm Sherwin Hughes, and I know the power of Stars and Stripes Honor Flight firsthand. As someone who's been on an honor flight, I can tell you it's a day you'll never forget. Stars and Stripes Honor Flight gives our oldest veterans who served in any location in June of 1975 or earlier a free one-day trip to Washington, D.C. for veterans. Airfare, meals, a coach bus tour, and special flight apparel are all included. It's a day of honor, gratitude, and camaraderie. Veterans who served in the Vietnam or Korean War go to flySSHF.org and ask for an application.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I could start a riot, but my energy doesn't better on. Now it got real quiet.
Many criminologists note that homicides and violent crime increased sharply during the pandemic era, especially in large urban areas between 2020 and 2022. that matters statistically because police were increasingly responding to violent calls involving firearms, which are the encounters most associated with deadly force. What did measurably change after the death of George Floyd? Because there was this whole movement, we got to do police reform, and people were marching and protesting. We got to stop the police from doing all these things. There was a bill. It did get some bipartisan support, but ultimately it failed because you got to keep in mind when George Floyd was killed, Donald Trump was president and he was about to lose the upcoming re-election. And so there was no motivation on Trump's part to sign police reform because those that didn't want it or didn't think it was needed. You guys remember how polarizing the whole George Floyd thing was? I know it was 6 years ago, but it's very relevant in the longer view of police reform and just corrections policy as a whole. There were some people like, oh, he was on drugs and he's a bad person. He should have been killed. So the folks that had that attitude about George Floyd didn't want police reform. Those were the people that Donald Trump didn't want to risk losing because those were his members of his base. So there was no political motivation. You would think in a moment like that, Donald Trump could have scored a win. He's like, you know what? Maybe we do need some police reform. That was a real terrible thing that happened. I think he could have neutralized some of his most hardened opponents by saying, yes, we do need some police reform and just admitting that that was a heinous thing. I mean, millions of people protested and didn't move Donald Trump either way. Now, Biden gets elected, and Biden did sign some executive orders that curtailed what federal law enforcement could do, banning chokeholds, et cetera, et cetera. But Joe Biden did not have, without a bill passed by Congress, Joe Biden did not have the ability to reform local law enforcement. That was up to the local cities and each individual respective states. But after George Floyd, you had a decline in chokehold use that was measurable. There were more body cameras, more public scrutiny of the police, faster releases of footage, body camera footage in most cities, increased prosecution of police misconduct. So there were some reforms. And so for those that want to abolish the police, I would say no, not so fast, because when you do that, you are further compromising the subjective safety of African Americans. Reform is possible, but it takes diligent work. It takes very careful policy craftsmanship. The easy thing to do is just to take a sledgehammer and say, defund them all, close the prisons. Could you imagine for a second if inmates that are in Oshkosh or Waupun or some other state correctional facility, if the new governor just walked in and was like, yeah, you're all free. Get on out of here, you crazy kids. You guys need rides? We got Ubers waiting for you. But no, just go on back home. You're free. We're going to close these darn prisons. It's inhumane here. Could you imagine? Think about who would suffer. Who would have the most to fear if we close the prisons? Where do you think a lot of those folks would go back to? At the very least, they would need to live in places in the state of Wisconsin where the rents are cheapest, where the cost of housing is the lowest. I am fairly certain that the places where the cost of housing is the lowest is the place where you have a lot of working poor, working class families that don't need to be burdened by released inmates coming and living next door. And it's difficult for me to have more sympathy for the offender than we as a society have sympathy for the victims. It really, really is. Because we have seen some of the heinous and reckless crimes that people commit, and that stuff destroys families. Even if you've never done anything wrong, you are still a victim of the reckless and dangerous and illegal behavior of people that will just as much shoot a pistol up in the air on New Year's Eve as they will throw garbage on the ground because they just simply don't care. But that harms so many people. And they're selfish. They don't care about who they harm. They don't care that now our insurance is going to go up. It's going to cost more to insure your vehicle, which is totally not fair because it is mandatory to have car insurance. You know that if you need your car to get to work, I'm going to give you a real world example. You need your vehicle to get to work, but you had an unexpected expense. Gas is getting more expensive. Groceries are more costly. You had to buy your kids some stuff for school. You just had an unexpected medical bill or a high deductible for your health insurance, and you let your car insurance lapse. You didn't want to let it lapse. You just didn't have enough money to make the payment. You're driving. You're on your way to work. You run a little bit late. You're speeding. They catch you going 10 miles an hour over. Cop asks for your driver's license. You provide your driver's license. Your driver's license is in good standing. It's not revoked. It's not suspended. Then the cop asks for proof of insurance, and you show your insurance card. Maybe you have the actual paper card, or maybe you have the readout on your phone of your insurance card. And the cop says, oh, no, your insurance is expired. It has lapsed. Do you have an updated insurance card? And then you explain to the cop, look, I'm on my way to work. I can't lose this job. If I lose this job, I'm in bad shape. I wasn't able to pay my car insurance. I want you to know what happens next. Sir or madam, can you please step out of the vehicle? Oh, no. But officer, I'm 5 minutes away from work, and I got to get there because, my child was sick and I was late a couple of days this weekend, and my boss gave me a warning. I gotta get to work. I'm not gonna ask you again. Can you please step on out of the vehicle? And the cop gets on his radio. 213-42-70. We need a tow truck over here on 98th and Capitol. They will take your car. And to get your car back, you've got to pay the speeding ticket. You've got to pay the fee for getting your car towed. And you're going to have to pay your insurance and have proof of insurance in order to get your car. But you couldn't even afford the monthly payment for the insurance. And guess what? You're making payments on that car and you can't even drive it. That's a real life scenario where someone who fires a gun recklessly or can't walk away from a dispute or an argument and goes and they shoot somebody, how you devalue the neighborhood but increase all of the costs for people that live there. That's what I have a problem with. And now that person that did nothing wrong got their car towed because they couldn't afford their insurance because it's too expensive because they live in a neighborhood where there's just too much crime. That's senseless. That's what I want a politician to tell me what they're going to do about that. And none of them are going to do it. They'd rather say, well, we're going to close the jails. So I have an audio clip here. Let's see what's playing in the background here. What is this here? Who is this person? Is this Francesca? Let me see what she has to say. I haven't heard this clip. I'm assuming she doesn't swear in it. She's not a profane person. Let me see what this is.
Folks, let's talk about public safety.
Okay.
Everyone in Wisconsin deserves to be safe.
Yes.
Safe from crime.
Indeed.
Safe in their communities, in their homes, safe from abuses of power, and safe from the conditions that make communities unsafe in the first place. Poverty, a lack of good jobs with good benefits, a lack of affordable housing.
I'm going to pause her right there. I'm going to take a break. We're going to come back and take some telephone calls on the other side. I think they're just missing the point, and I can't have anybody missing the point if you're running to be in any elected position in 2026 when you have an authoritarian fascist who is running the country. Missing the point is no longer acceptable. Keeping in mind the race for governor, that crowded primary, is going to be on August 11th in the hottest and most dangerous and most deadly part of the summer in the city of Milwaukee. Crime is going to be on the forefront of people's minds, and I think that the candidate that is leading just has it a little bit mixed up. But we've got time to get it together. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
May is Skilled Trades Month, a time to celebrate the hands-on careers that keep our communities and our economy moving forward. At Junior Achievement, students learn that great careers don't always start behind a desk. With support from Komatsu, students are exploring opportunities in skilled trades, advanced manufacturing, engineering, and technology in Milwaukee's Harbor District. Thank you, Komatsu, for helping inspire the next generation of builders, problem solvers, and innovators. Learn more at ja.org.
When I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, I had so many questions. I didn't even know that it was cancer. Now I do. It is cancer. Blood cancer. It's actually one of more than 100 different types, and they're all treated differently. Now, unlike some other forms of cancer, usually there's no tumor. You can't screen for it to prevent it, and the symptoms can look like other things, so it could be hard to diagnose. I had a fever for weeks. I was so tired all the time. I didn't feel like eating or doing anything else for that matter. And I know that this can feel scary. But if you know what to look out for, you'll know what to tell your doctor. And you'll feel more empowered to take the next steps. Like getting in touch with the people who know the ins and outs and can help with everything blood cancer related. Blood Cancer United. They work one-on-one with each person who reaches out to answer questions and offer resources. Blood Cancer United was there for me, and they can be there for you.
Go to bloodcancerunited.org to learn more.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends, if it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on where you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Many of our most important memories are made at school. But for children like Victoria, the classroom can be a place of fear and isolation. She wore a bandage over her cleft every day, too shy to speak, too afraid to smile. Everything changed after one life-transforming surgery made possible by Smile Train. Today, Victoria's smile lights up her classroom, a symbol of confidence, connection, and new beginnings. Due to stigma, children with untreated clefts often miss out on school entirely, but thanks to Smile Train, students like Victoria are stepping into the classroom, raising their hands, and finding their voice. Smile Train partners with local experts to support with free cleft surgeries and other comprehensive care, empowering children to thrive in school and in life. Let's help every child walk into the classroom with confidence. Visit smiletrain.org/learn.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Mac the Knife. Hi, you're on.
Yes, sir.
Oh, good afternoon. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing
How
okay.
How are you, Sherwin?
I'm doing all right. What's on your mind, Mac?
Great. Well, I just wanted to say that you were a little bit incorrect when you were saying about the car insurance because Milwaukee police don't even enforce that. And as you know, you drive these streets of Milwaukee with the potholes and all. I know that you know that you get pulled over and, you know, you can look at the vehicles and see that they're not insured. You know, like those, what is the Altamans you always talk about? Whatever car, that Nissan, one car you talk about. But anyway, no, they don't enforce that.
Mac, here's what I would like for you. When's the last time you've been to the tow lot? Have you been to the tow lot recently?
Well,
that's a yes
no,
or no.
I haven't.
Here's what I would suggest.
No,
It makes sense that you can say, oh, the police don't enforce that. I want you to go to the tow lot, and I want you to go into the office, and I want you to see all of the people that have to show proof of insurance before they can get their vehicles back. Before they can.
I know
so
that.
Yes,
I
they
know
do
that.
enforce it, and talk to someone who has gotten their vehicle towed because they did not have. Now, it might be inconsistent enforcement, but I assure you, it is state law that you have to insure your vehicle in the state of Wisconsin. Do some cops not check? Absolutely. But do some people on their way to work get their vehicles towed because they don't have insurance? 100% they do.
Yeah, but I doubt if anybody get told on their way. You don't even have to have a driver's license or insurance and they'll let you go.
Mac, do you think that a police officer is going to let somebody just go on about their day if they ask for proof of insurance and you don't have it? Do you think that the police officer is going to let that person go if they don't produce a driver's license?
Well, Sherwin, what I saw was on one of the news reports that a guy had 27 or some tickets, and he's been pulled over 27 times, never had a driver's license, and they let him leave that scene.
That I did see that, and that is unfortunate. But I promise you that every police officer is not letting everybody go that does not have insurance or a driver's license. So that was a situation where it was just another fine or another ticket. They have since reformed the law because of that guy. Let's talk to Kathy. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad you're still on there, Sherman. I would be lost without my encyclopedia. You're right about the reform and putting these people in jail and then training them and giving them degrees. I'm going to tell you something. Anyone, listen, please. If your family, your business ever been harmed by a criminal, whether they went to jail or not, file a lawsuit, get an amount of damage on there, and make sure it stays in the system on CCAP. Because when they get out, they get their jobs from getting educated in the prison, you can garnish their wages. And every year or so, you have to pay $5 to keep that on the system. Make sure you sue the business. You sue the person who brought harm to your family, you, or a business, because they haven't paid restitution they only paid restitution to the state for the law that they broke the crime for. They went to jail for the crime that they did. They didn't go to jail for taking care of your family member who died in the middle of the street, or business was broke in and cost $16,000 to get fixed. Okay, so people say, I did my time. No, you did your time for the state law crime that you did, but you have not made the person or the business whole for the problems that you have caused them, like you said. So you have to file get some kind of a lawsuit against them so it can stay on the docket. That's what we need to do. Be about it. Don't be going around arguing and stuff. My arm was broken, my insurance didn't cover it all, or my car was totaled out and I didn't get nothing back for it. You can get something back. You got to get a lien on them people. So when they go to jail, you got a lien on them. We can put a lien on when they go to jail. You just get the lien on there so you can garnish their wages when they get out of jail. So the state want to train these people instead of training the people that's already out here, or the victim that can't work that job anymore because they only have one arm. Now they can't do a forklift. They have to go back in the office or to do something else. They have to put a lawsuit against them people. I'm just telling you. I'm like you. Anybody running for office is going to have to talk to me like that. If I go to any of those reform meetings or anything that we have running for office, I'm going to bring that up.
Now put a lien on them.
Yes, you have to put a lien on them because they can get out of jail. Somebody can leave money for them or property for them. They're the only child. Why did you get out of jail without having any debt to owe? Yeah, put a lien on them. Play it, brother. You have a good weekend.
All right, you too then.
Have a good weekend. Mm-hmm.
All right, now,
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain. We all have sorrow.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be back for hour 3.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Brew Crew are back on June 2nd.
Fly ball center field. It's hit well. Grisham back. It is gone!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they play the San Francisco Giants.
Got him swinging. Threw him a curveball. It's 11 Ks for Mizorowski.
Brewers baseball is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in June 2nd at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
Just want to really congratulate Mech on this very important venture that y'all on right now. I think it's real dope. I think it's real important, and I'm looking forward to listening to y'all. You know, usually y'all listen to talk radio at this time, but y'all is on here, and it's something that I'm looking forward to listening to, getting some real community on that in that space.
Keep texting, keep calling, keep being you, Truth Nation. Milwaukee Black Talk, 101.7 The Truth.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
You are listening to the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations. 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We are going to get to the Milwaukee experience, and you want to make sure that you stay tuned for the Milwaukee experience. There's so many things going on this weekend. Many, many things. Bucks Pro Shop has got great deals on your Bucks merchandise, tacos and tequila, the Locust Street Festival, got all sorts of stuff. We're going to talk about that in a second. But first, let's talk to an unpleasantly loud cell phone of Millicent. Hi, Millicent. How are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm going to turn my radio down. I am good. How are you?
Doing okay.
Take the phone away from your face.
Good. Listen, I have a question. Why, when they pull you over and you don't have a license or insurance, why aren't they towing the cars all the time?
You're going to have to talk to that responding officer, Millicent. I do not know. You know, a lot of times cops don't want to do the paperwork.
I want to know why we can't make it where when you're pulled over, there's no plates, no insurance, no driver's license. All those cars should be towed.
Your guess is as good as mine.
All of them.
I know that they do tow
and that's
some.
What we need to do.
And some people just get tickets. Like that dynamic, I do not understand. Maybe if you have a certain number of tickets. I also know that they had to change the state law because before Milwaukee police could not tow unless there were other extenuating circumstances. But now I believe they can tow, and they can tow for a first offense reckless driving, where before they could not. They could only give a ticket.
Yes. And now I think this. I know how the black community is. We always come up with an excuse. But it's my belief. You got Big Mama in the car. Big Mama got her oxygen tank. Y'all trying to go to Pick and Save. Big Mama got in the car with you. You don't have no insurance. You don't have no card. Nothing with you. And you get pulled over. You and Big Mama need to call an Uber. That's just it. We need to we can't give you a pass. Oh, I was going to go pay that ticket that my license is suspended for yesterday. Well, you didn't, so today we're taking your car. And we have to start doing that, because if we don't, it's going to continue the way it is. Until we see people standing on the corner because their car got towed, we're not going to take it seriously.
Fair enough,
and
Millicent.
It's going to have to happen. Yeah, because our car insurance and our homeowners insurance and our taxes are getting too high. Your taxes are paying for. You notice that now the street lights are being strung high and not on the pole anymore. Have you noticed that?
No, but I'll look for it.
That's because every time you knock over a street light, that's like $15,000 out of your taxes.
I didn't
When
know
you see those little stop signs and stuff knocked over, that's your tax money right there. Not MPS hurting you, it's the people without car insurance. Think about that.
Thank you, Millicent. Have a good weekend.
Have a good day.
And don't hit any street light poles because of $15,000 of the taxpayer money. Let's talk to G. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
Good morning, Sean. Hey, it's good to hear you, man. Is this going to be your like regular time slot?
Yes. It's been my time slot since 2013. So yeah, I think I'm going to be here 9 to 12. Yeah.
I thought you was on. Well, I'm kind of. Never mind. I got kind of confused right there. But some street.
Actually, you called the Tory Lowe
overhead.
show. This is Tory Lowe.
No.
Kidding.
No.
I'm joking.
I know. Trust me. I know the difference. Trust me.
This is Ray Nitty. Welcome to the Ray Nitty show. Yeah, Ray Nitty.
Yeah, I'm just kind of. Yeah, I was a little sick, so I'm kind of mixed up on my time slots right now. I apologize for
That's
that.
all right.
But there are some street lights are overhead because of the way they run the lights, and most of them are on the street lights are on poles. I don't know. They're not. I don't know where medicine's getting that from. But anyway, I just wanted to ask you. I know. They had to do something with the state law because the news did a story on people driving and getting tickets and stuff.
Yes.
But my question is, I thought that how you tint your windows was some type of law or an ordinance, but there are so many people now that they have that dark tint where you can't even see in the car. Some are tinting their windshields. I even seen mirror tint on vehicles, and I don't. You said something about people having insurance, but that is not enforced at all. I don't think because so many people have done it now, and it's just kind of gotten out of hand. Isn't that an ordinance or a law that you can only have a certain tint on your car windows?
Yes, but don't bring that up because some people, I'm not saying that I have tint on my windows, but don't bring that up. As long as you're law-abiding and your plates are registered, everybody needs a little bit of tint on the window. But the tint, so here's what they do to test the tint. So they'll have you roll your window up, they'll have you pull out your driver's license, and they'll have you place your driver's license right against the tinted driver's side window. If the police officer can read the details of your driver's license, your tint is light enough. If they cannot read the details of your driver's license, then you could potentially get a fine for your tinted windows. I'll say this. I used to drive a silver Audi and I wanted to get mirror tint, which you cannot see in whatsoever. And I offered to pay the Mexicans extra money and they said, no, we're not going to do it because you're going to get pulled over every single time. I said, I'll pay you extra for it, Pablo. He said, no, I'm not going to do it because you're going to come back and you're going to get mad at me because the police are going to pull you over. So sometimes the tint shops won't even tint windows. Most tint that people get is illegal. But I wanted to go because I've never been pulled over for tint before. And I was like, oh, I can run with this risk. I mean, I've been driving tinted window cars for 30 years, knock on wood. And I've never gotten a ticket for tint. So I was like, well, screw it. I want mirror tint. But then the Mexicans were like, I'm not going to do that. You're going to get mad at me. I said, I'll pay you $500. He stopped for a second. He said, $500? No, amigo, I still cannot do it.
Right. Now, you had mentioned something about that vehicles are being towed for no insurance, and I don't think that's the case all the time. Now,
I got the law here for you. Let me read it to you because there's a lot of confusion on this. In Wisconsin, driving without insurance is a civil offense that can result in fines of up to $500. While missing insurance doesn't automatically mean your car will be towed, police can impound your vehicle if you are pulled over, get into an accident, or violate any other municipal ordinances. So let's say you're driving recklessly and don't have insurance,
Right.
they'll snatch your vehicle. Let's say you're driving and you have an open intoxicant in the vehicle. They pull you over for that because they see you drinking and you don't have insurance. They can tow your vehicle. Most cases, it's a
That's good.
fine, but there's
Yeah.
other circumstances that can lead them to impound the vehicle.
Right. Now, when you go and pick it up at the tow lot, you have to have proof of insurance. I don't think they're going to give you the vehicle then. So you
That
are
is correct.
on that end, but right. So yeah, I just want to make that point, and yeah, I'm glad I still hear you on the radios because I listen all the time. Appreciate it.
All right. You can also join us on YouTube at Hughes Views 414 weeknights at 7 p.m. That's my uncensored show. The uncensored show.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
It's
Okay, so
dirty
I'm gonna
though.
hang
Be
up and
careful.
listen. Thank you.
Al be calling. All right, now it's very dirty. They got very dirty last night. I lost control of the program. JD did an erotic poem. Old Whiskey Lips Linda called in with her freaky self, and then Al was the last caller that we took last night, and he was not going to be outdone. He said some things that in a million years I could not have imagined nor envisioned that kind of sexual exploration that he laid out very eloquently. Towing process, traffic stops and accidents. If you are pulled over or involved in an accident, law enforcement can require your vehicle to be towed if you cannot prove you have auto insurance. Reckless driving ordinances. In municipalities like Milwaukee, local laws allow police to immediately tow and impound vehicles for specific infractions. Reckless driving or habitual traffic violations, including tickets, regardless of insurance status. Towing company requirements. Towing companies must be registered as motor carriers with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation and carry a minimum of liability and cargo insurance. Reclaiming an uninsured vehicle. Proof of coverage. You will need to purchase and provide proof of active insurance policies before you can retrieve any impounded vehicle. Fees. You're also responsible for all towing and daily storage fees by state law. Maximum standard charges are generally $150 for the tow and $25 to $35 per day for outdoor or indoor storage of your vehicle. Uninsured driver fee. In cities like Milwaukee, you may also be required to pay an additional fee, a $50 uninsured driver fee on top of standard tow and storage costs. Let's talk to Lisa. You're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? How's Milwaukee? This insurance is
Good.
ridiculous. I just went from $7.19 a month.
Oh, wait,
So they
Lisa. No.
That's for 3 cars though, but my car is the most.
That's still $719 a month for 3 cars?
Yes.
Who are the drivers?
Yes. Me and my brother. I just turned 55. He's 55. He'll be turning 56.
Your car
And
insurance
my
rates
niece
drop
is
after you turn 30, don't they? Why is it so expensive?
Look, Sherwin, you would think that too because our driver's records are immaculate. My CDL record is immaculate. And my brother never had an accident.
Who's the third person on the insurance?
My niece. She just had an accident, but the guy ran the stop sign talking about there was ice. There was no ice, boy. Stop playing with me. Now, you talk about I'm a dedicated, I know about driving.
But it was your
So
niece's
you
fault?
can't, run a game. Well, she was picking up the baby from school. She did not have the stop sign. He had the stop sign, and he said he slid. Well, like the police, it doesn't
Who got
matter if there's
was
ice
your
or not.
niece
You
at
should be able to
fault?
stop. No, she was not at fault.
Okay.
He was. And then he tried to get away, but his airbag exploded. He tried to drive away on the messed up
Lisa, you're paying
airbag.
$8,500 a year for car insurance? Who do you have?
Pretty much. I was the Allstate. And then, you know what, Sherwin? They owe her. Look, they want to tell me what to do with the money that we paid. Look here, player. If you don't send my money, you will lose me as a customer. You don't be crediting my account. I don't know. Look, y'all are getting out of hand now. Well, your contract, I don't give a damn what that contract say. I paid the money, give the money back. You should have asked me if I wanted to credit to my bill or not. No, I don't want it credit to my bill. I want my.
Why were you receiving a credit?
What?
Explain that.
Because they owe her. They still had her on the insurance from the time of the accident up until like last week. We called to take her off, but oh my God, Allstate is the worst insurance company to deal with. We called to take her off. They didn't take her off. Okay, so we called again when they finally took
Why
her
did I
off.
even ask?
They didn't take her name off. Okay.
Tell
So
your niece to pay.
she
How
didn't
about
wanna
this,
drive-
Lisa? Why don't we do this? Why don't you tell you, how old is your niece?
She's 33.
Oh, 33. Why don't we tell her to pay her own insurance? Let's try that. See if that works. Maybe lowers your premium a little bit. Let's just try that for a month.
Well, it's cheaper that she's on with us.
Cheaper for who?
We
Cheaper
tried
for
that.
your niece.
For her, cheaper for my niece that she's on with us.
Okay. Well, good luck.
My vehicle by itself is almost $400. So, yeah.
A month?
Yeah.
What? Hold on,
Don't
Lisa.
let you
Wait. What kind of car do you have? A Lamborghini, Corvette, Maserati? What kind of vehicle you got that's $400
No,
a
I
month?
have a. You would think as much security on thing. I have a Lincoln Nautilus. You go ahead on the Steelers, you're not gonna get too far.
What year is it?
So you would think it's a 2019, and I only have 81,000 miles on it. So
That car is
I
maybe
haven't been
worth
driving it.
10 grand. Something ain't right, Lisa. You should not be paying $400 a month for a
Well-
2019 Lincoln Nautilus. Okay, good luck. I don't
Yeah,
got nothing to tell you. Try Progressive. Try calling the general. I don't know what's happening in the world. What? $719? That's more than a car payment. Okay, let's take a break. We'll do the Milwaukee experience after. What?
Need a breather, huh?
I'd have to risk it, I think, if my insurance was $719, or I would get a different car. Tell your 33-year-old niece. I mean, maybe it's time. Maybe it's the time to have a conversation with your niece who's 33. Maybe we just sit her down very gently, because you don't want to offend the niece who's getting their car insurance paid for. We'll sit her down. We'll get her some cookies, get her some snacks, maybe a couple of filet of fish sandwiches just in case she's hungry. And say, hi, niecey, maybe we should talk about you paying for your insurance. I'm not paying for anything. You're going to pay for my insurance. I'm sorry. I wish my niece would. If my niece, so I don't have a niece, but if I did, and she said, Uncle Sherwin, will you pay for my car insurance? I would steal her car. And I'd be like, no, because you don't have a car anymore. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. All your favorite interviews and best moments live in one place.
I love your perspective, Sherwin.
Thank you.
You do a great job.
Appreciate
you do a great job. I downloaded the app so I can listen to you in the evening sometimes, because you make a great difference in how you present things in many ways, politically, socially, financially. You do a great job.
Download the new 1017 The Truth app now. Milwaukee Black Talk. 1017 The Truth.
In Milwaukee County, equity means making sure everyone has a real chance to thrive. That's why the Milwaukee County Office of Equity works to help remove barriers, strengthen community connections, and support fair access to opportunities across Milwaukee County. Want to learn what they do, explore resources, or find ways to get involved? Just search Milwaukee County Office of Equity online. Milwaukee County Office of Equity, advancing equity for all Milwaukee County residents. For more information, search Milwaukee County Office of Equity online.
When you work smart, incredible things can happen. By joining Smart 18, the union for Wisconsin sheet metal workers, you'll open the door to a brighter future. You'll learn and earn more. Enjoy awesome benefits across the board. Build a great career and feel empowered and supported every step of the way. The smartest career decision you'll ever make starts with Smart 18. Find out more today at smart18info.com.
Tacos and Tequila Festival, Saturday, May 30th at Franklin Field, featuring live performances by Rick Ross, Genuine, Soulja Boy, Frankie J, Mims, Petey Pablo, Jaquan, and Milwaukee's very own Big Frank. It's Milwaukee's biggest throwback party of the summer, all for $29. There will be craft margaritas, Milwaukee's best taco vendors, authentic Lucha Libre wrestling, an exotic car showcase, a Chihuahua beauty pageant, art installations, and so much more. Tacos and Tequila Festival, Saturday, May 30th. Get your tickets now at tacosandtequilafestival.com.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hi, Al. How are you today?
Oh, I am doing wonderful. It's Friday. Now, I know Lisa said her insurance is...
Uh-oh. You there, Al?
Called... Say what?
We lost you for a second. We lost you right after you said Lisa's insurance.
Yeah, no, what I was saying is it might be because of her zip code, because in certain zip codes, they charge higher. And I know what she's talking about, having people on insurance. I'll never put nobody on my insurance. Last time I had somebody on my insurance, they flipped the truck over. And when I went to see the truck, I said, I wish you would have died with that goddamn truck. You hear me? So sometimes they better, they need their own insurance. That's what I tell everybody.
I agree.
And if they don't got their own insurance, they got a mouth, 2 armpits, a set of nuts, and a booty hole. And you got your feet, too. Put them together and make it happen.
Armpits?
You never heard of that before?
Armpits. You know that's another vessel.
We're on the same page.
Yeah, so I'm just saying you gotta be careful. But have you ever heard of Mount Bayou, Mississippi?
Yes.
Well, I heard you talking about like the education and stuff, and they was talking about down there, like I think one year they had like a 100% graduation rate, and they had like their own like town with their own black banks. But I think the problem is down here in Milwaukee, we have a mindset and a culture that they don't want to give back to England with some Marlboro cigarettes. So it's easy to be ignorant, but it takes everything to be great. And if they start being greatness, they wouldn't worry about shooting and killing each other. But they only do that because they don't love one another. And they only do it to each other because they know ain't nothing going to come from it. Now, you tell them go try that with them white boys. It's going to be, we're going to be chill because they don't want no F-450 showing up to their house. But if it's one of their own sisters and brothers from another mother, they'll go shoot up the whole funeral home, the whole house, and everybody, because they had no value. So sometimes when you deal with people like that, you have to dig them out the grave, beat their ass, throw them back down in the grave, snatch them out the grave, and then take their face and make them a cemetery stone-faced mother sucker. You hear what I'm saying? So things could be changed. They just got to hit the reset button.
That's a good idea, Al.
Have yourself a good day, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hit the reset button. A cemetery stone-faced mother sucker.
I love it.
I don't know what's happening today. I don't.
Milwaukee experience?
Well, Welcome to the Milwaukee Experience. We talk about all the wonderful things happening in this great city by a Great Lake. Let's start with the Milwaukee Bucks Pro Shop at Fiserv Forum will host its 5th annual Bangos Pro Shop celebration from May 28th through May 31st in the atrium of the Fiserv Forum. The sale will feature select Bucks apparel, merchandise, and authentic memorabilia for up to 80% off. Bucks VIPs, including season ticket members, will be invited to receive early access from 10 a.m. until noon on Thursday before the sale opens to the general public. Oh, you missed that because that was yesterday. The sale will be open from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. on Friday, from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday as well. Free parking is available with purchase throughout the sale in the Highland structure located at 1030 North 6th. Bangos Pro Shop Celebration is a cashless event and additional discounts are not available for use. So that is going on this weekend. Also, do you love barbecue? I know you do because you got a big back. Milwaukee World Festival is bringing back Smoke on the Water, a barbecue and beer festival at Henry Mayer Meyer Festival Park, the Summerfest grounds. Tomorrow, gates open at 11 a.m., go until 4 o'clock. Harley Davidson is presenting this event, which features 8 local barbecue vendors serving slow-cooked favorites. Tasting size portions start at $5, and full-size meals are available. The menu includes ribs, brisket, jerk chicken, mac and cheese. Guests can pair their food with beer from Molson Coors and Leinenkugel seltzers, and specialty cocktails are also available. Live music will play at the Aurora Pavilion, featuring performances by bands Crossfire and the Playlist. They're going to be there. Families can enjoy 9-hole mini golf courses and classic yard games. Children can play at the Northwestern Mutual Community Park. Tickets are on sale right now. General admission only costs $6 in advance, and children 10 and younger get in free. VIP tickets are available for $75 and include food and whiskey tasting. Smoke on the Water back for a 5th year on the Summerfest grounds tomorrow at 11 a.m. And of course, you've been hearing about it all week, for the last couple of weeks actually, here on 101.7 The Truth. Tacos and Tequila Festival featuring Rick Ross, Genuine, Soulja Boy, Frankie J, Mims, Petey Pablo, Jaquan, Big Frank, Milwaukee's own Big Frank, and DJ Ashton Martin. Whole bunch of great things are going on. I got the music lineup here. DJ Ashton at 1:30, Big Frank at 3:30, Jaquan at 4:15, Petey Pablo at 5 o'clock, Mims at 5:45, Frankie J at 6:30. The Chihuahua pageant, which some of you can enter even though you're not a Chihuahua, that starts at 7 o'clock. Soulja Boy at 7:15, Genuine at 8 o'clock. Genuine is probably going to fall off the stage, so you want to make sure you're there for his performance. And then Rick Ross at 9 o'clock. He's probably also going to be at the barbecue festival as well because Rick Ross has got a very large back. General admission is $29. If you want a VIP pass to the Tacos and Tequila Festival at Franklin Field, that's $99, and you can level up your festival day. VIP gets you faster entry, premium viewing zones, and dedicated bars, big vibes, and zero stress. The Taco and Tequila Festival at Franklin Field is tomorrow. Also happening on Sunday. Great weekend for things to do in Milwaukee. The Locust Street Festival is back for 2026 and will again include the Locust Street Beer Run, sponsored by Black Husky Brewing. 1, 2, 3, 4 live music stages, local vendors, artists, food, and great beer. And the Locust Street Festival has got a very long and deep history going back to the 1970s that is taking place on Locust Street in Milwaukee's River West neighborhood on Sunday. And the UPAF Ride for the Arts also taking place this weekend. The UPAF Ride for the Arts, presented by Miller Highlights, is more than just a ride. It's an opportunity for friends and family and coworkers to have fun and support our region's world-class performing arts organizations. The iconic 20-mile route is one of a kind. Ride Interstate 794. Please keep in mind there will be traffic rerouting and lane and traffic closures. Ride Interstate 794 along Lincoln Memorial Drive from downtown Milwaukee to Cudahy and back, crossing and going beyond the Hone Bridge with stunning lakefront and skyline views along the way, fully closed to car traffic in both directions, and free of traffic lights. The course offers a smooth ride and memorable experiences for riders of all ages and abilities. The Milwaukee Experience, presented by our good friends at Visit Milwaukee. For more information about the wonderful things happening in this great city, go to visitmilwaukee.org. That is visitmilwaukee.org. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
How much does it cost to talk to Gruber Law Offices after a serious crash? It's free. Yes, free, as in it won't cost you anything to speak with us. Not sure if you have a case? Call our team at Gruber Law Offices today. Your first call and your first consultation are always free, and you'll never pay us a fee until we win your case. If you've been seriously injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Presley. My love for animals began when I was 5 years old. That sparked a lifelong commitment to speak up for animals who can't speak for themselves. Elvis and I supported American Humane Society because your compassion can change a life. American Humane Society strengthens the bond between humans and animals. Please visit AmericanHumane.org to learn more. Thank you.
I'm Sherwin Hughes, and I know the power of Stars and Stripes Honor Flight firsthand. As someone who's been on an honor flight, I can tell you it's a day you'll never forget. Stars and Stripes Honor Flight gives our oldest veterans who served in any location in June of 1975 or earlier a free one-day trip to Washington, D.C. for veterans. Airfare, meals, a coach bus tour, and special flight apparel are all included. It's a day of honor, gratitude, and camaraderie. Veterans who served in the Vietnam or Korean War go to flySSHF.org and ask for an application.
Did you know that for 80 years, Paralyzed Veterans of America has been a lifeline for our nation's veterans with spinal cord injuries and diseases like MS and ALS, and all people with disabilities? In just the last 12 months, PVA has funded research of the first non-addictive pain medication in over a decade, partnered with an award-winning sports anchor to fight for accessible medical care for women veterans, ensured all women with disabilities feel seen and empowered with help from a top cosmetic company. And that doesn't even include what PVA have done over the last 80 years, like secured the passage of the Americans with Disabilities Act, pioneered wheelchair basketball, helped design iconic landmarks, made the DC Metro a model transit system, and wrote and distributed resources in over 60 countries in 4 languages. None of this would be possible without your help. Every breakthrough, every battle won, and every life impacted is driven by you. Visit PVA.org to learn more.
Hey, Joe, working again? Retirement was boring, huh?
Not boring. Expensive. Food, medicine, rent. Social Security just isn't enough.
I know, and that's why I used benefitscheckup.org. It connected me to an extra $1,000 a month.
$1,000 a month?
Benefitscheckup.org is a free service from the National Council on Aging.
Free? I'm going to benefitscheckup.org today.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Now move your body, girl. Hey, 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 yeah, hey, hey. I like her. I wanna wife her. I wanna take her home and pull it all night. Her body like bow, 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 bow.
I got Ray Nitty in the studio. Can I get an autograph, Ray?
Man, if you give me one first.
No. I don't have a hit song.
If you give me one first. You have a hit jazz album, I'm hearing, man.
I do. Thank you very much. I took a lot of
work. Playing some of it for me, man. I was like, damn, okay, yeah, it's like a real album.
It's very rough. It's very tough. I'm an artist.
It's a year old?
And I had, yes, just turned a year old, and it was very, very dedicated time I had to set aside to create that incredible album, and I'm very proud of it, and it's doing very well. It's not doing as well as Bow is, but
man,
you ever get sick of your own song?
Absolutely.
Really?
I'm sick of it right now.
You're kidding.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been going on 16 years now. Wow. That's a lot of performing around the country, and
that's what you call a timeless record.
Yeah, I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for it for sure. But I felt like it also put me in a box that people just didn't want to let me out of.
That's why doing talk radio is a whole new box, and it represents new opportunities and new challenges. We're going to get to that in a second.
Yep.
But first, let's talk to old Whiskey Lips. Hey, Linda.
Hey, what's happening? I like this. I like that Ray Nitty is in this.
Oh, now you like him. I've seen the comment. Ray's seen it too. Oh, you like him, huh?
What's up, Linda? How you feeling? Linda?
What's happening?
I appreciate the comments you made. I appreciate the comments you made.
Yes, I was trying to be honest and respectful. But, Sherwin, you got me all, hyped up about, our future in Milwaukee. We need to get together. We haven't talked about, beyond the mic or whatever we're going to do. But I just wanted to say this, though. As in regards to your earlier segments about youth and what to do with problematic teens, I think that we need to improve what we already have. We need to invest in the Y, invest in the Boys and Girls Clubs, the things that we already have. Why are these people trying to, create something new when we have the answers in our hand? All we have to do is, leave the egos at the door and bring our intellect and our hearts. And the last thing I want to say, since you said that this is the last show for Good Karma Brand and welcoming the new crew, Sherwin, I had to persevere through verbal, emotional, mental abuse by association. But I'm glad I did, because I understood where you was coming from as a brother, and I, as an educator, I knew your gift. And I have to say, this is powerful. I'm just trying to tell you now, this is powerful. We got a new Black Milwaukee going forward, and we need to rethink, reimagine that. Thank you. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you tonight.
Hold on, Linda. You making it seem like it's something going on, like me and Mrs. Jones. You're going to join me on the Hughes Views podcast. You got to say that. Otherwise, she hung up.
In person?
No.
She'll be.
Linda has. You don't understand what I have put up with. I got to tell you a couple of stories. So we used to do this thing called Truth Family Fest, and it's a big vendor fair, and we bring all these organizations together, and we have music and food, and we do it in the parking lot of Riverside High School every year.
Riverside.
And you're a Riverside alum. Good. Everybody else went to Bayview, apparently. So I went late in hopes that I could go say hello to everybody, but I went late in hopes that Linda wasn't there. I think I told everybody, I was like, I'm going to be there at 11 o'clock. I showed up at 4 o'clock. I'm walking around like I'm creeping around corners. I'm over here looking for Linda. I'm like, okay, perfect. It's safe. Next thing I know, I hear Sherwin, and my whole world was in slow motion. This woman is running full speed toward me, runs up to me and wraps her legs around me in front of everybody. Who's standing there with a video camera? Carrie Noni. Recording the whole thing, and before I knew it, it was on social media. Had the whole city thinking I was humping Miss Linda. I am not humping Miss Linda.
Oh, so that was Miss Linda.
You saw it too?
I saw it too.
I thought it was your wife at first.
I saw it too.
We did an event at Blue. It was a fundraiser for Axe Housing, and I shouldn't even tell that story. Linda threw up on a guy.
Oh my God.
That night. And she gave me a lap dance on the same night.
Truth is
because she was
popular.
drinking Long Island iced teas. Then we had an event at Mr. B's, and she sat on my lap. And everybody photographed it and put it on their social media. So, Ray, how are you? How's
I'm
your
doing
day
good.
going?
Now that I know who Linda is.
Watch out. She'll put that clam on you, and you won't be the same.
Oh, my God. I like seafood. I'm from the Caribbean.
Hey, relax,
I'm from the
Ray.
Caribbean.
How's your show been going? You got 3 days under your belt. What's it like?
I think it's been good. It's been good. As Linda said, she shared her raw, real responses. I think learning the system, learning. I just found out about the chat on day 2, so it was good to interact with people in the chat. Shouts out to Zach for opening up the chat for me and making sure I interact with the people in the chat. What I'm excited about is to have Shannon in studio and really get a chance so people could actually see and hear us. We've been doing a lot of interviews, and I love it, and I'm thankful for it. We got some great, amazing people in, but I think people want to get a shot of seeing who we are and what we bring to the table, and I'm excited about that. But I love how things are going so far, and given the circumstances and the tension, I'm enjoying it. And I do watch Hughes Views at night too, because they keep it even more real on that segment. So I tune into that and make sure I'm getting my knowledge in from there. But I think things are going good. Interacting with some of the folks in the Hughes Views group has been very, very insightful, and I'm excited for what the future brings.
Were you at all shocked or alarmed by, because there was an onslaught of criticism?
Yeah.
Did you expect that? And if you didn't, I guess how does that make you feel? Because here you are putting your full effort, and your first 2 days were 4 hours. That's a monster.
Yeah.
And then you saw the criticism.
Yeah.
How'd that make you feel?
I think it was to be expected, though. I think you all have built a family over the years that you all have been operating, and to lose some people that you're accustomed of listening to and hearing in a certain slot that you have grown to like and build a relationship with, that could be a drastic change for listeners that are loyal to a station. I remember when Breakfast Club was coming to Milwaukee, I didn't know if I was just ready for that type of change, or when they was bringing Steve Harvey's show to V100. I wouldn't know if I was ready for that type of change. So I respect it, and it gives me a snapshot at how much people love the radio station and how much they love the talent that was on the station. Noonie, Benjamin, Kyle. People had mixed reviews of Tory, but people also loved Tory, and I think he brought a very important balance to what you all was doing. So I'm thankful for it. I was not surprised by it at all. I was not offended by it. I was not taken back by it. I was expecting it. You know what I mean? And I saw somebody say, I ain't gonna just listen to somebody just because they had a hit song. And I respect that too, because I'm also the person that made a hit song and said I was gonna run for 4th District Alderman. So nothing was more challenging or, criticizing than that. They put hit pieces out on me that I knew I was walking into, and I still dropped breadcrumbs so I could see where the rats took it back to. And I got the answers I needed to get. But we're going to get into a lot of those stories, my experience with politics, my experience with 4th District, my experience with the TCE stuff in the 32nd Street development. We evacuated 50-something plus families, and we never had an opportunity to really tell our story based off of legal leadership saying, let's keep quiet or whatever. And I ran for office because I was tired of legally being told I had to keep quiet and so forth, or let's not poke the bear or whatever that is. And as an elected official, it is your duty to inform your constituents as to what was going on. So that was really the catalyst for what I ran for office for. But we'd like to get into a lot of those stories and such forth in the future.
All right. The difficult thing about this endeavor, and there's quite a few, and I think the most difficult thing for our listeners is these public airwaves belong to the people, and hosts and producers, they really do need to cycle. But the hard part is people get used to hearing somebody every day. They grow accustomed to a particular type of content, but everyone needs to not just move on, but I think we need to hear from different people, because generations are changing in the city of Milwaukee. I'm the elder now. I remember when I was the youngest person doing Black Talk Radio in the city, and now I'm like, with Dr. Ken being gone, I think I very well might be might be the oldest. And I'm glad that you all are here because you were bringing a perspective that I don't necessarily have. These public airwaves need to be cycled with new hosts that can update information for the newest generations. It's like we get mad when politicians stay in office too long. Y'all should get mad when hosts, because we get old and stale too. Now I'm hanging on by a thread these days, but I know that I will not be doing this forever. And let me tell you why I'm so thankful for Jazzy, because there are young people she's going to bring to this studio that are going to shine and they're going to be showcased. And we're going to have a whole different perspective on what the future of leadership looks like, and some of them will be the next host in the continuation of Black Talk Radio, because for a while, when I was the youngest person doing talk radio and there was literally nobody coming up behind me, I was worried. What happens if I decide I want to do this anymore, if I move away or if I pursue another endeavor? So I'm glad that we are cycling in new hosts. Now, here's the thing about the audience. As long as, and I'll say this about Truth Nation, they want to know what the hell is going on in Milwaukee. They want to know what information you can provide them that can demystify politics. You running for city government, I think, is going to be valuable to talk about, because a lot of folks don't even know what an alderperson does. They don't know what the responsibilities are. Not enough of us know about political campaigns, working on campaigns, volunteering on campaigns, and you have that whole breadth of experience that you can share. And it's a new professional endeavor for you outside of, being an artist and doing music. So I'm looking forward to your growth. You guys have put in an astonishing amount of work in just this first short week that we've had, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from you. But let's grab what time we got. Let's grab a call from Mr. Lee. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
Man, I greatly appreciate your tenure and continuing on with the Truth Station, big brother. And Ray Nitty, brother Ray Nitty.
Yes, sir.
I want to say this. Let's keep it, truthful. And trusting, and that's the 3 T's, one more T, and transparent. I believe that transparency is going to keep us together in this thing together. And I love the fact that as of recently, as I've been listening, I'm hearing the youth. I'm hearing them. That's a big part of why I started originally listening to the station in its beginning, because I heard young voices. Not that the old voices still mean a lot, means everything, because that's the libraries we need to go to. But the overall, that connection between the youth and our elders makes a world of difference. As long as we keep it in truth, trust, and transparency. Y'all have a blessed day. Keep up the good work.
Appreciate that, Brother Lee.
Thank you, sir. We're going to take a break. Nita, you got time to stick around for another segment? Because I don't want to make you work more. We only do an hour now, right?
Sure. I'll take every clock in I could get.
I got a real serious question that I want to ask you, because as I've been listening to you this week, I'm just fascinated by something. I'm going to withhold the question till the other side of the break, but I got to know how you do this one thing. You have a skill that I've never... And I've heard a lot of things. I've heard a lot of hosts. I've heard all sorts of stuff. There's something that you do that I've never witnessed before, and I want to ask you about it on the other side.
I'm starting to get nervous.
No, don't. Well, maybe you should. We'll talk about it next. We got Ray Nitty in the studio. He is the host of The Lunch Break with Maybe Shannon, The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
The Brew Crew are back on June 2nd.
Fly ball center field. It's hit well. Grisham back. It is gone!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they play the San Francisco Giants.
Got him swinging. Threw him a curveball. It's 11 Ks for Mizorowski.
Brewers baseball is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in June 2nd at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
Don't miss one of Milwaukee's favorite summer traditions, the U-Path Ride for Arts, presented by Miller Lite, returns Sunday, May 31st. Ride a fully closed 20-mile course across the Hone Bridge with incredible lakefront views. Kids 12 and under ride free thanks to the Brewers Community Foundation. All in support of Southeastern Wisconsin Performing Arts. 7 a.m. start, finish at U-Path Fest on Summerfest grounds. Register today at upathRide.org. That's UPAFRIDE.org.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
Tap into the best power hour in radio in Milwaukee.
So altogether, you're looking at $1,780 for your mortgage and for your property taxes in a year. And that's before you have to deal with, obviously, your water bill and electric bill. That's a steep price that people have to pay. And based off those numbers I just ran, to afford a home like that, you got to make $65,000 a year. But the problem is, here in Milwaukee, the median household income is only $54,234. That's out of whack. So again, I am all about affordability. I'm all about people getting homes. But what we have to understand is that until homes are more affordable, you can have a supply and demand problem. But the problem that we have here in the city of Milwaukee is that these prices, when people are listing these houses, they're listing them for prices that people really can't afford. And even if you do get the house and you're paying that, you're living paycheck to paycheck. Home ownership is not about living paycheck to paycheck. Home ownership is about finding something that fits within your budget and building equity for the future.
Catch Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app.
In the United States, a vehicle is stolen every 31 seconds, about as long as this message. Luckily, you can take a few easy steps to protect your car in the same amount of time. Remove your valuables. Roll up your windows. Don't leave your car running unattended. Lock your doors and take your keys or fob. If you have information about a crime, call the police. If you suspect insurance fraud, also call 800-TEL-NICB. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hey boy, would you meet me on the roof tonight? I got a surprise for you.
That's Linda singing to me. Welcome back to the program. In studio, host of the newest show, one of many new shows on 1017 The Truth, Ray Nitty, host of The Lunch Break with Shannon. So, Ray, what are you going to be talking about on your show today?
So today on the show, we have another interview. One day you'll be able to get me and Shannon, our true selves. But today we have Imani Ray coming in, partner at Empower with Aziz. And we'll be getting into that interview and some of the work that they do for the community and so forth.
I think you should use the accent, Ray.
You think so?
He was just telling me, because what I wanted to know about him is how he can so effortlessly switch between his native Caribbean accent and speaking like, you know, an American, and you can just go back and forth with in a split second. I think that's absolutely fascinating. He also was telling me that you weren't really respected as a child going to Milwaukee schools with that accent, and I would think that people would be fascinated by an accent they don't hear very often, but it was actually quite the opposite for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So born and raised in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands.
A lot of folks don't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know it. But moved to Milwaukee in 1998. Went to John Burroughs Middle School for 8th grade. And first day of school, the teacher called my name, Rehenio. She couldn't even pronounce it, to be honest. She couldn't pronounce it. So she, Rehenio. And I stood up. See how it just goes in and out? That wasn't for you, Miss Linda. But I stood up and I say, it's Rehenio Alejandro Boynes, but you could just call me Ray if you can't really say it. And then the class start laughing, just erupted in laughter. And I heard somebody say, oh yeah, we're going to gun him down. And I thought that meant they were going to try to kill me after school because I didn't know at the time that gunning meant ribbing, making fun of or so forth. So, you know, you deal with a lot of the not knowing of Caribbean cultures or people. So you get the people asking questions. Some questions I didn't mind, you know, but it was the African booty scratcher. It was the do do you know what a chicken nugget is?
It be your own people sometimes, right?
Yeah, you know, so it was rough. It was rough. I had to fight a lot because I was an easy target to pick on. So I was beating people up all the time. People was trying to bully me walking home, so I had to fight. I was fighting a lot, getting in trouble a lot. And then Riverside, when I went to the most important high school in the city of Milwaukee.
Oh, please.
When I went to Riverside is when I decided to start yanking. And that's what we called it back in the Virgin Islands, yanking. When you talk like this and you blend in like an American, we call it yanking. So that's what we call it. So I start yanking. We just did it back home just to whatever, right? Sound American. But Riverside offered a new opportunity to put on a mask. So I start talking like this. And I was like, I'm not going through what I went through in boroughs. So it was a mask. It was a way to blend in easy and not stick out with even more kids now. So that was kind of my experience.
So that's fascinating to me because most of us African Americans born and raised here, the only kind of cultural assimilation, and that's assimilation, you had to, even amongst other black people, you had to mask and disguise your accent as not to either arouse their curiosities, their suspicion, or them making fun of you. But the assimilation that we're familiar with is white people that are trying to assimilate to whiteness. We never consider that if you are black, you may have to assimilate to other black people and still feel an assimilation to whiteness as well. Was your blackness ever questioned? Because we have a problem as African Americans seeing Afro-Cubans, Afro-Dominicans as actually black like us. We think that, oh no, we're African Americans and everybody else is some kind of an offshoot. Like we don't see ourselves in the diaspora. Did you ever come into conflict with that?
Yeah, actually, not too long ago, you know, you have people, the comment was, I don't even know if you've had a genuine real nigga experience because you are Caribbean and, you know, we went through the slave trade in America and so forth.
So did you.
And that's what
y'all was the first stop.
That was my response exactly. And it just shows like how disconnected people are with the lineage of the diaspora. And it's like, okay, yeah, some of the most brutal forms of slavery was in the Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands and the sugarcane plantations that they had to endure back then. So it's just like, it's as if some people think we didn't experience slavery. And I know some people do know that, but there's a sector of the population that don't even understand that, you know, we are so much more similar than different.
That's right. Well, Ray, let me formally and officially welcome you to the Truth family and Truth Nation. You are going to be great. I think that you have given one hell of an effort, and I know that this first week was an awful lot, but I think you showed a level of class and a level of decorum. You have waded through criticisms probably better than anybody else that I have ever seen, and I think that's a testament to who you are and your character, and I'm looking forward to meeting Shannon when she is here next week. And also, folks, she's going to be here next week, and that's going to change the dynamic as well. So for those of you that are not yet sure, you're not yet sold, I would say continue listening, because when we first started out back in 2021, you all weren't sold on our original hosts and producers either. So thank you, Ray, for spending some time with me. And I'm actually going to turn this microphone over to you because lunch break is up next.
In 1987, the Bucks took on the world and changed basketball forever.
At stake, basketball supremacy in the United States.
Bucks versus the world, narrated